Oh, yes. I'm not dead yet. We are back. What is up, Camian? Thank you very much for the resub, mate. Welcome back to the Swarm, and welcome back to another edition of the Midweek Muster. That's right, Midweek Muster number 9. We're almost a third of the way through the entire bloody format. I can't believe it. Time is flying fast, and yes, it is happening again. The return of Cal versus Lash. He came so close last week. Could this finally be his week? Only to then experience our grand finalist KillerPigeon's in the round of 16. It's a rough week no matter how you square it. Gonna be a fun one though. We don't have as full of a roster this time around, so a few players less. I think we ended up with 7 signups less than we need for a full bracket. Reminder why it's important to sign up no matter who you are. It's a golden opportunity to play against some of the best in the game and improve your own game by first-hand experience in a way that you just really won't get just by simply watching someone else play the game. But we've got a fun one. We're going to be opening up with... Oh, for God's sake. Why does he do this with names? He just enter your name, MSN. We've got MSN DK versus Dragavan for our first series of the day. The default map this week is going to be a return to something familiar for a lot of you on the ladder. We are doing a Rocky River. All the more reason why you guys should have signed up, because you could have been diving into something probably quite familiar to you. So it's going to be Rocky River, Dry Arabia, and Lakeside. Dragavan, who got a better draft here? I mean, obviously there's the argument over the Middle Eastern civs, right? Like, Abbasid's getting banned on both sides. I think that... I mean, Dragavan's got Japanese. You're probably looking at what? No, you wouldn't go Juji on Lakeside. They're pretty sucky there. Probably Ibids for Lakeside. So Dry Arabia has to be, what, Delhi? I mean, I actually like Dragavan's draft. I think it's pretty solid. He'll probably pick HR in the opening map here for Rocky River. And the response from MSN would be, what? Expecting that, you probably go China, I want to say. That can make a lot of sense. Juji is more likely on that map. You know how it is. People like the eventual gamble. And also, the hunker down allows you to get to a late phase of the game where you can usually get into like mass monkage and hyper late game. But 1 second. Sorry, just double checking some of the background. So let's get the game open and we'll hop into game number 1. Reminder, folks, we should have at least a few series today. So we'll catch up on, I'm sure a Lash versus Cal is likely to happen today. You know, Cal may be busy on the weekend. But we should have, obviously, MSN versus Dragavan we're opening with. There's also going to be the Micah series against Red Darksider. Eliona versus Jean Do, Battle of the Frenchman is going to be happening as well. And then, of course, the Cal versus Lash series, I am very interested to sink my teeth into. But yeah, all that to come. But we begin with the kiddos. See so many empty spots, people concentrate on the big qualifier. I think that's part of it, but also like the way I try to point this out to people is if there are people not signing up, this is a golden opportunity for you to potentially get in. So just take that opportunity, man. It's just sitting there, right? You know, I've already said as well, like the people who participate regularly are going to find there is something rewarding coming. I'm working on something to incentivize and also thank the people that play more consistently. So I haven't got the full details on that yet. I'm going to try to iron that out to maybe announce something a little bit later this month. But I have an idea. One that I personally think is pretty damn good. We'll see if people agree. But apparently they agreed with my assessment of the draft. It's going to be HRE versus Yushi to open this up. 1 sec, I need to take my boot off. See who's going to be sticking whose boot up whose ass. Ugh. I had to rush to the house quickly. Hence why. Ugh. I'm in a little bit of a fluster to get it all sorted. But, you guys ready? Let's hop into game number 1. Oh. I do need to get scene switches set up again, actually. A new week is upon us, and somehow my throat is still surviving. The question mark is, which one of these children is going to survive? In our post-apocalyptic Rocky River. That's right, we've got MSN versus Dragavan. If you are not familiar with these two, they're two of the youngest active players we have in the scene. It's going to be an absolute fun one. Also a Scandinavian showdown, Danes versus Norwegians. An interesting week as well, because the winner of this actually going up against the reigning champion here in Midweek Muster number 9. It was B, of course, who was able to take that victory yesterday. Those will be uploaded onto the YouTube side. If you haven't seen them, I highly recommend watching that series between B and KillerPigeon's. MSN with the Shuji, though, I really like this pick over HRE on this map. HRE is kind of a generalist Shu that fits all sort of style Civ, right? But like looking at Dragavan's draft, I favor him long-term through the draft. I just think he has solid picks for the remaining maps, which you'll see when we get a little bit deeper into this series. But Dragavan's HRE is this opener. I'm wondering, like, what is his solution to play this? Because the interesting thing is, although HRE has a phenomenally good economy, it's not like you're against a weak eco Civ. You know, usually you have the 20% to mirror your 40%. They also get phenomenal buffs like the Tang Dynasty, just discounting the tech up costs, allowing them to go for these very aggressive fast caster builds. I think Dragavan has to play Age 2. He can't rush Age 3. Because if you rush Age 3, if you turn into Castle Rush, the Zhuji are just going to pump out Shaolin Monks. And they will absolutely decimate your prelates. Even the Knights, actually. And if you're wondering why didn't Dragavan go for like a rack Spearman opening, it's just really bad against China and Zhuji because of the taxation. You won't be able to stop them getting Age 2. I think it can work against Zhuji specifically, a lot better than China anyway, because the reality is that Zhuji don't have as much taxation because they don't have the Imperial Academy. And if you build spears, the awkward part for Zhuji is they can't build archers, right? They have to build Juganu, which means they have to have gold. So yeah, definitely would have been an opportunity there. Medigarden is going to be dropped in the back here, so playing it very safe. That's going to be the 25 gold, 36 food, and probably about 20 wood. Nothing crazy, but a safe one at home. The sheep pool looks pretty damn good for Dragavan, actually. Ends up getting a lofty 19 sheep. Only 12 for MSN, but I think MSN, this is going to be pro scouts. You can tell by the fact he pulled 5 to the gold. If you guys are ever wondering, like, what's the sure sign your opponent wants pro scouts? Being 5 on gold at this stage with only 4 on food, it like the macro balance doesn't make sense for it to be a fast caster, right? And there's nothing that should be that drastically high in gold cost other than pro scouts that you'd be needing 5 villagers on gold this early. So that means the value play of, oh my god, I got all these sheep, kind of feels irrelevant, right? You're going to have to turn this into a push. We actually see the winter biome being used. You know, I've kind of been wondering about, like, each week specifically targeting a certain biome to be used. I mean, or maybe giving them, like, an option of free. Because, like, everyone always does European temperate, and there was a reason a long time ago why that was done. It was done because of spawn issues, right? Certain custom maps weren't really designed equally in that regard. But it would be nice. I think it's an element of variability that's really missing in AV4 right now. Is every time we load in the map, you know, we have to be drastically different in how the map spawns from a, you know, Rocky River versus Lakeside perspective, because all of them look the same from a skin perspective. So yeah, a little bit of an awkward one there. What would at least be cool is if, as an observer, you can select a skin. Which is, by the way, like someone like games like Dota 2 have this, right? Where you can specifically apply a map skin for yourself. No one else will see it. It'll just be your POV. So yeah, it looks like it's the pro scouts we fought. Oh, for God's sake. Dragavan, I'm losing brain cells, man. I can't keep watching these games. Every single time, every single week. And, oh my god, he gets seen as well. The scout yoinked from his side at the perfect time. He should have seen that. Oh, no. Dota 2 is not a fair comparison. It has everything. I mean, that's a depressing way of, like, summarizing it. Considering the amount of different games I've seen people make comparisons to, I'm going to say it's fine to compare to Dota 2. Like, sure, it's a much more developed game, a better developed game, right? Like, from a technical standpoint, most definitely. But doesn't mean we shouldn't want better. Right? It's like, how do we get better? And looks like, you know, we have got that Pro Scouts play. I expected this. This is typically how you play this as HRE. You open either Spears or you open Horsemen. I think it was a little bit disappointing we didn't see Spearman. I actually think the Spearman could have been impactful here. There's, like, against China, I wouldn't advise it, but with your intent being to go Pro Scouts anyway, Spears would have been a lot more cost efficient. And the thing is, HRE is one of the few civs that can easily do the Spear play against Pro Scouts. Not just because their economy's better, but because of the movement speed, right? They can get on top of these scouts dragging carcasses back in a way that most spears can't. Alright, ones if you think MSN's going to win this opening game, twos if you think Dragoman's going to take it. Where does your loyalties lie? Dragoman has got the Archer Rangers coming in at home, but they're going to be so slow. I don't know if they're actually going to be impactful enough before the scouts have done their business. Right, MSN is already shuffling east side, picking up the small deer packs. He's still got the reserve deer pack in the corner, which... Oh, he doesn't even know about that, which is really surprising. I mean, he has to suspect it's there, though. I'm pretty sure last time I checked, MSN can count. He's young, but I think he has developed beyond preschool. Horseman a little bit ambitious here. I think Dragoman, this is the problem of going for the Horseman opening, right? Against Spear Flood from Zhuji, you just end up in this awkward situation. Like, Age could have actually competed on Spears in an opener because they would have done it an age earlier. Zhuji would definitely outramp you because of the production speed, but like your better economy means you can afford to push yours out faster. I think Dragoman's paranoia about going Spears on the opening was to do with the fact that Zhuji get their tech cheaper than other civs, right? So maybe he just thought it was moot detail. If the spawn was too good, he wouldn't do any damage. Now I'm kind of question marking how he's going to do damage here, man. I mean, we've got 2 archers. There's only 15 spearmen. I'm sure that 2 archers can take that on. I think you're just going to see MSN go fast castle now. Like 15 spears is more than ample. Apologies if I sound dead. My throat is still 100% fudged. We're probably going to take a bit more of a chill cast day approach just because I don't like my throat dying. Yeah, see how it goes. In before something ridiculous happens and I lose my grab. Do I sound way better? I think the reason I sound way better today is probably because I'm keeping... I don't know if my voice is lower for you guys. I feel like I'm keeping my voice a bit more tame. Because, you know, I thought about just sacrificing my voice to the gods, but then again, I've got a cast tomorrow as well. What's that voice trick people use? Honey? Yeah, you just like get a bunch of set honey and you just like cram it down your throat. We do have tech up on the way though. MSN's about to trigger it. It's going to probably be the Shalamont play here because it's HRE. Mountain Luke can make a lot of sense usually, but like, you know, I think from this position, Shalamont Monastery is just a lot safer. There you go. 7 now building it up. Meanwhile, the Spearman just baiting a reaction here. Dragoman is investing very heavily in this age. I think it's going to be worth it. I'm not sure. I love that from MSN, by the way. He peels off a single Spearman so that the A-click hits into that spear. And although he knows he's going to die for that, it gets him the break-off he needs to run away from the Horseman. That's really smart. Because like this many Horsemen, you think, oh yeah, spears just count horse. Sure, but the archers are backing up. You're teching up. You don't really want to lose any units. You just want to survive. KPMM winners will get EGC circuit points in the future. I mean, they really should. I don't know. I'm just gonna flat out say it. Obviously, I got a bias because I run these, but I see very little reason why midweek muster should not be used to qualify some slots to major events. At least, like, you know, favorable seeding bare minimum, right? Because, like, yes, we kind of get the favorable seeding already for the ATR, but this is a week in, week out type format. Like, it is a good measurement of some of the top players. Now, you can argue maybe not everyone wants to play them, that's fine. But, like, the trade-off is go through the qualifiers, right? If you want the easier route, play Morales. I mean, it's no different in most esports standard formats. Like, the teams that get invited are usually the ones that have played a crap ton more. Spear Clash coming in with the Archers, and a bit of a weird front lining there from Dragoman. Lancer's coming out now is kind of problematic. I mean, he can't really ever take this engagement. The best thing you do is mop up the spears as best he can. But this is looking dire. The Lancer pump is strong, man. There's only 2 of them, but you just see how long it takes to kill a single one. And the Shalamonk's now arriving as well. It's going to make matters worse. These guys are absolute beasts. Also, we're now going to dive in. That will force a little bit of idle time. But Dragoman, there's no denying that he's in trouble here. It may look good in this fight, but you have to remember, he's still only age 2. there is no signs of a tech up coming anytime soon. With the Shallow Monks already being produced, we're now going to start seeing relics being picked up for MSN. Yeah, and this was like base case scenario for Dragoman. He had a window to have Steeled Arrow. He didn't have it. So instead of doing the 2 damage, he done 1. That's why that fight looks so bad. If he priored the techs the other way around and had Steeled Arrow in that fight, his initial Lancers would have flopped dead. MSN still just dragging so many carcasses back. Has plenty of food to keep pumping for days. Does need to get back on the food gathering actively. Like a little bit of out of time definitely stung him there, but we're back up to 13. Dragoman is now saving for an H-up. That comes at a cost though, right? Comes at a pretty penny. Wow, MSN now with the pass guard switch. I mean, kind of smart, right? Like, playing Lance is very expensive. Only makes sense if you're raiding on the flanks. If you're defending your base, PG can be good. The only awkward part about them, of course, is against archers. Like, they're marching through archers. They're going to be able to kite you. You thought that was the long-term motivation, what, to get, like, EGC points? It wasn't about EGC. It was about the logic of giving players an environment to practice and improve upon regularly, weekly, while also organically growing the scene in a way that actually benefits all. That was a big part of the thought process, right? And it was also to stop like the ATR system being this gatekeepy by just rewarding people who are already at the top from not participating for fear of losing their points because an upcomer could upset, right? I don't like the fact that you can just like dodge a bunch of tournaments because you don't really, like you actually lose more for playing them. But like at the same time, if ATR wasn't affected from midweek musters, it would make it redundant for the point of like, you know, upcomers getting their fair and just kind of appearance, right? So, Dragoman still has a big army. This isn't entirely over, but I don't like the fact that he's plowing into lances like this. Though this was great for a moment when he like idled. It looked good, but it cost him too much as you saw, which is why he backed up. The Lance account now at 6, 4 extra in the queue. I'm struggling to paint a picture that isn't some sort of, you know, Medici era, Grand Betrayal, let's kill people in Siena moment for Dragoman, right? Like, it's Renaissance distortion all over again. Flash coming in. I mean, he just can't turn to fight at all. He even queued up Bloomery to try and make it a bit better. He has at least got crossbows on the way, but he went Regnant, so this is about to be a relic race. One that I'm struggling to see a way in which Dragoman can contest now. Along the flank. Oh, no. Well, it's going to be... Wait, what? You were in range. You should be blue. Da-da-dee-da, da-da, da-da-dee-da. But you should be blue. That, I mean, it's honestly, the tick rate... I'm just going to say it, that is a pristine example of something simple but impactful where a better tick rate would actually fix that issue. That was caused by low tick rate, 100%. So Lancers continue to chase back. Dragoman is about to be behind a military. He has got crossbows coming out, but the count is so small. I'm worried, man. He doesn't have a front line. He actually needs spears. It's crazy that Dragoman just thought he could go crossbows. Funnily enough, if he actually went spears, although he'd lose on the relics, he'd at least have a way of contesting deeper into the game. Now MSN with a dive in. Should be able to just clean house. He's trying to front line with the archers to buy a little bit of time, but the crossbows, the numbers just aren't looking good here. He's hitting to the farmland now, so once these crossbows go down, it's going to be villagers next to the chopping block. And I suppose best ever to get Steeled Arrow 2 to make this TC threatening. It's not threatening fast enough. Eco units lost, map control lost. By some miracle, Dragoman is somehow bringing one relic home. I don't even know how he's pulled that one off. This is looking like a 4-1 split. Maybe $1,000 prize pool for each midweek muster in the future. So, who's paying for this $30,000 prize pool? I've talked about this before. You can't scale a scene beyond its logical size. Forcible scaling very rarely has ever worked. we've kind of reached beyond the era of burn money to create growth, right? Like, not just in esports, in every industry. It just doesn't make sense in 95% of industries now. You can't prove value in like less than 3 years. Why the hell are we doing it, right? Like, it's a fair statement. So many esports scenes die because they bloat too fast, but speaking of esports players, it's been the death of poor old Dragoman here, but only the first game, folks. Remember, we have still got at least one more, if not two. Stay tuned. We're hopping into either Dry Arabia or Lakeside in a second. Let me know which one you think it's going to be. Oh, bless you. Yo, what's up? I'm Ty Online. Thank you very much. Was it Empty Online? I never asked. Empty or I'm Ty? Either way, thank you very much for 1,000 bits. Appreciate you, mate. Thank you, thank you. There you go. Ty is paying for it. Have Beastie and Marine Lord taken part? Marine Lord has not taken part at all. Beastie has participated in 2. He has not won either of them. He lost to Anatan in 1. He lost to Krakody in the other. Empty Online. Got you. Okay. I thought so. Thank you, mate. I appreciate the support anyway. So, let's get ready for game number 2. We can be going into Lakeside here. So, point on the board for MSN. Good start, but we talked about his draft feeling a little bit wow after this, right? I was expecting Dragoman to go Japanese. He done something very different, though. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he done French, which is intriguing. Like, why are you leaving Japan here? The response is going to be English, so maybe that's the thought process. He was paranoid about this, but we're going to find out. Let's hop into game number 2. And let me flip that around. Did BC complain about rules after he lost? I think he didn't like the streaming delay, which, by the way, we completely fixed. It's only grand finals that require 5-minute delay now. But the other thing he had an issue with is that he loses ATR. But like the point I made is like it's stupid that you basically get rewarded for not participating in tournaments, right? Because your ATR is protected at that point. That seems weird to me. You know, it's not really indicative of who is the best player if the best player only turns up twice a year, right? I do find it ironic that as a community, like, we accept that, but we had issues with the previous... Okay, so we're going to get a really hot take here. So we were just discussing, like, the ATR system. The ATR/ELO system, one thing I don't like about it right now is it rewards people for not participating, right? It's like, if you're a high ELO ATR, you don't want to participate in anything but big buck tournaments. They can argue that just kind of makes sense. Different esports scenes kind of function on that. Maybe it's not the ELO incentivization, but whatever. But the point is, like, you're basically being rewarded for avoiding actually competing, right? So, like, you don't necessarily have to prove yourself consistently. You can argue if that's good or not. But, you know, one thing I'd highlight is with the current ELO ATR system, if you're a top player, you're rewarded for only turning up twice a year, right? And the ironic thing I find about that is, like, for all the issues people may take with that system, with that flaw, and, like, you know, and they might exploit that system. It's ironic that also there were so many complaints about Red Bull inviting a player to a grand finals. While we're not inviting a player to the grand finals, you are basically inviting players directly to the event based on it, right? So, like, it's not the same degree of, like, severity, but there is an element of, like, I mean, this is in the same yard of awkwardness, right? Obviously, you know, it's a little bit frustrating because it definitely benefits me to have everyone want to sign up for the weekly. The whole point of the system is it functions best when you have a mixture of the best and upcomers. But, like, I think the core issue is the ATR ELO system should not be the sole way in which, like, invited slots get decided. And obviously it benefits me if other tournaments want to use the midweek muster and we create a point system to decide a few invite slots, because that gives more value. I'd actually argue it actually critical hits some of my value, because then I look like I'm just a secondary qualifying phase, right? But it at least then incentivizes players to play in these. But yeah, let's talk about this matchup a little bit, because we are 2.5 minutes in. We've got English versus French, and I agree with what Mirror is saying. It does favor the French here. The cool thing about this pick for Dragoman, I thought it was going to be Japanese, and I think MSN did too. MSN would have been favored here if this had been a Japanese pick, because English could have rushed the fourth gold, right? And this gold is way too far away. Japan doesn't want to play H2. They get screwed over. English can struggle against mass Yumiing from Japanese on certain maps, but this one, for English on their opener is far too simplistic for you to not win against Japan. So great read by Dragoman. Means he's got Japanese or Delhi left for Dry Arabia if we get to a game 3. And I like that for him, right? Like, that means he's up against either the Chinese or the Ayabits, right? And I think you're kind of content with Delhi in either of those. I mean, not content, but it's doable. The only risk is like China, right? Like, I wonder if there's a curveball you can throw by going Japan. I haven't seen much Japanese-Chinese in a long time, actually. That was a matchup that used to be quite comedial because it just turned into Speedy Ladies versus Speedy Boys, right? Because you had Onobugisha and then you had Palsguard in late game. But while China is applicable everywhere, Japan rarely ever comes out. Hammer King's coming up. One's if you think Dragoman's going to win this, two's if you think MSN is favored. Might be casting your series next. Have you scheduled it, Mr. Myriad? Do we have a time? Poogies. Okay. So Myriad begins in about half an hour-ish. We're a few minutes away from... Like, let's speed up this other game. So the condition you're already seeing for MSN is he's behind on economy raw, right? Like, it is a case of two of these being fishing boats, but the rest of it is just raw economy on land, courtesy of the French being quicker. Yeah, I don't like this for MSN. He needs to dominate water, but the problem is this is like subtle water activity in a way that I don't think you can justify Admiralty. That's a big problem. Like, if you can't justify getting into Admiralty, what is your real edge on water here? I guess you get, you know, the 10% cheaper boats, but I'd always take the 17-second production speed on villages over that. What is up, Faplop? Appreciate the sub, mate. Thank you, thank you. Ooh, bad micro there by Dragoman. Had an opportunity to actually just pull 3 away, repair with 2. Sacrifice the boat instead. Does at least have the Springle ship out now to defend. And remember, the Warcogs here are cheaper than everyone else's Springle ships. You save 35 food per. Dragoman now also come with the Knight. By the way, I know 35 food doesn't sound like a lot for a unit that costs about 300 plus resources, right? It's 350 usually, I think. But the thing you have to keep in mind is that it's not as much that may only be a 10% saving on a Warcog, right? Which is like, when you say it that way, it means the English are better. The importance of this actually on both sides, that 10% discount means you get these boats out sooner. Water is all about the opening and all about timings. It's why China and Juji was so good, especially when they had that production speed just being so ramped up. If you can get your boat out 10 seconds sooner than your opponent, it's a hugely dominant position to be in. And awesome, Seagull. I'll let you know if we do end up working with PW again. Right now, Protein Works things seem to be on hold. Someone pause to see if they get renewed. I need to talk to the agency to see if that actually did happen or not. And yes, English Warcogs cost 99 food. Remember that it's 10% discount. The discount 10% off of every element of the cost. Well, I haven't really seen anything from MSN that's convinced me yet. And he's surviving, right? But like on land, he's dying. So second dock added in. But when you look at like the raw land of it, it's 41 villages versus 28. So Flash coming in. It is triple springled. MSN could win water here, but he's so invested on the water side, I have to wonder what he's done on land. And what he hasn't done is sufficiently walled. We've only got a single wall coming up here. This tree line's getting very thin. There is a diving opportunity, but not just that. Are you kidding me? Dragoman has gone 2TC. I mean, the way he's approached this, like, MSN should be a little bit suspicious about why he's so much bigger on sea. But he might just chalk that up to Knights. I don't think he would really have expected 2TC here. That is so snaky. What a great read. I mean, this is a little bit unorthodox. I wouldn't have expected it actually out of the French here. But what does MSN even do now? I mean, he needs to win water before he can go for a Castle Age play. So he needs to be fast about this because Castle Age is really his only play now. He's too late to the party on land. Double Knight is going to get a double kill there. Fishing boats, now making it easy to defend. Doesn't need to be careful. Looks like that's going to be a loss of the water. Demon Connect comes in. 2 Warcogs versus what? 3 Springle Chips. Dragon's at least going to try to trade out for the galleys, which might give him an opening to get demo ships out. If the Warcog attacks the right boat. You're embarrassing yourself. Oh no. He gets one of them. So Dragonman could actually delay the water control from MSN by building a demo here. Which is good for him, right? Because it's just distraction strategy now. You know you're eventually going to lose your fishing. He already sacked it by going for a second TC. MSN now in quite the predicament, because we can see Dragonman, he hasn't really started to reinvest in anything yet. Got a lot of wood gathering. Farm's getting added in. Yeah, so we'll be seeing a farm transition into, I think, Fast Castle for Drag. And no, there is fish on the water. There's just 2. So you remember, you have 1 infinite food, and then you have all the shoreline fish. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think this is a better approach for water. Still not perfect, but it's closer to. I actually think the worst maps are the ones that just have way too much fish. It's just stupid, right? Like, you know, fish should be a strategic resource you fight over. It's kind of like a trade post. It sucks if a trade post isn't contestable. Same with water. And yes, 5 fishing boats is definitely worth it because their gathering rate is so good. The way you guys need to think about fishing boats is you can pay 750 resources for a TC and take 2.5 minutes, or you can pay 150 resources and spend 30 seconds. Because that's what it is. A TC produces units that gather resources. A dock does the same thing, just much cheaper. Right? And you get it so early in the game that it's incredibly impactful. Like, you get it 2-3 minutes in the game, maximum, and you're talking about a phase of the game where you've got maybe 15 villages, and you're able to add in 4 or 5 extra. It's insanely valuable. Then you got to defend it? Not necessarily. Like, we saw here, Dragonman baited MSN into attacking it, if you think about it. Like, what actually really happened in this game? MSN won water, but it came at a cost, right? Congrats, firm handshakes. You did indeed get water control. But how do you use it now? It's 2 deep water fish. If this was like earlier that you won that fight, it would be great because your opponent would not have a farm transition already going. I actually think Dragonman played this incredibly well. He's got all the deer on the south side, so he doesn't need to just rush immediately into 20+ farms. He's got the berries as well. And remember, those are French TCs, so they just escalate a lead even faster. Amazon can think about trade. Guys, trade is bad on this map. Like, I've seen the numbers. I think it's like 25 gold, 25 wood each way. It's not good. Every time I hear people suggest water trade, I feel like people forget what water trade costs, right? It's not cheap, even for the French. You're still paying 180 resources per boat for French. Transport ship from proxy base? I mean, what are you hitting on the back here? Like this, so to that point of like a proxy base, what would be your goal with the proxy base? And what I'm getting at is like you could build a proxy base here, or you could just build it here. What does one achieve over the other, right? Because like the area actually where MSN needs to play to now isn't Dragonman's safe corner. It's the mid map. He's made it about the deer. Isn't like 1 deep sea fish? Yeah, 1 deep sea fish per player, right? But that can sustain usually about 5 boats quite nicely. Realistically, he could just consider moving over and building a dock here. It's kind of cheeky, but Dragonman wouldn't contest it right now. I've yet to see any players bother with that, even though it'd be a pretty sick play. Proxy base would be safe and close. Yeah, but it's all about timing, right? So, like, you'd be building a proxy base to build into an army to contest archers and knights, right? Like, do you see the issue there against French? Like, French-English is not great for English in feudal age. So instead, MSN is just going to try to reach castle. He hasn't made the right choice going White Tower. He actually went 2 TC, funnily enough. So he has at least, you know, stabilized the lead, right? He hasn't allowed Dragonman to extend it too quickly, but over time he's going to build it. No. Oh, come on. What was that timing? Well, that's catastrophic. White Tower coming in at home, but I mean, the archers can still snipe villagers here. And he knows it. He's going to move in. MSN. Oh my god, this game is so over. I just don't see how you play this now. MSN is just so far behind. Knight's going to chase down the spears. Gate is made for them to get away at least. But MSN is pinned in the corner with limited resources. He hasn't made a farm transition yet. And he's down by 22 villages. I just don't see the way. Because now Dragonvan can just mirror or go all in, right? Like, two options. I think you mirror. The reason why you don't want to go all in is it is a white tower at the end of the day. It is one of the most obnoxious Castle landmarks to try and break. It is actually, I'd say, the most obnoxious Castle landmark to try and break. Like, can anyone think of a more annoying landmark in Castle Age to try and defeat? I'll wait, because I don't think there is any. We've got knights coming in from MSN. This is great if you can get out, but if you get seen leaving, the French knights from Age Behind will just decimate you. This would be where transport ship play would be cool, by the way. Build 4 or 5 knights, drop them on the back, and just hit the main base where you know your opponent's army isn't. The problem with that play is MSN doesn't have a defense. Right? Like, the White Tower is great for one part of the map, but you know, we're seeing the goal on the front side is still a little bit risky, doesn't want to be there. Back side is definitely not protected. Remember, like, land-wise, when you need to start getting a lot of food, he doesn't have anything. No farms, no gathering. I just don't know what... I don't know how the hell MSN's meant to be able to afford anything in this game. We do have the dock. There we go! Yeah, this is what we're talking about. So now you can do the fishing over here. Very weird position for the dock. Maybe he's a little bit paranoid that Dragonvan might come back. But he needs every bit of food he can get, because right now, 360 food income a minute is not going to do it. You have a question? Why does it have 20 garrison spots? That's great. Let me answer your question with another question. Why does it even exist? Defensive landmarks are one of the most obtuse and annoying things that exist in AoE4. It is silly how much they can affect games. But there's so many things about White Tower. The attack speed, the fact it's a production building, the fact you repair it with wood, the fact it has 20 garrison slots, like, it goes on and on. I don't think it needs 20 garrison slots, by the way. I think that's a big part about why Fast Castle 2TC English works, is because you go 2TC straight away, you rush Castle Age, and when you're getting Dove, you suddenly jump 20 villages inside. Like, just think about the maths of this. When you want to rush Castle Age, when you rush Castle Age and complete it, you end up with enough safe room for 43 villages. So pretty much your entire economy by the time you tech up. I hate anything defense. I mean, I don't like the defensive plays. I don't want to say easy, but I think it is naturally rewarded a lot in AoE4. And there's definitely a lot of like design decisions around things like defensive landmarks that have enabled that way too much. Yes, Red Palace is far worse, but Red Palace is an Imperial Age landmark, right? Like, I'm trying to think if there's a more obnoxious Castle Age landmark than White Tower. You could maybe argue Regnitz because of the way it makes you prioritize relics even if you didn't want to. Maybe. But I'd say there's other landmarks that do that anyway, like the Shaolin Monastery. I think White Tower is #1 for most tilting. Most frustrating. I was talking about Berkshire. Yeah. Berkshire is like annoying, but Red Palace is infuriating. Agreed. And Seagate Castle is a mega lol. Arbitrary coming. I mean, this is Royal Institute as well, right? Oh, dude. MSN is literally doing everything that Dragonvan is doing, but it's all just worse. Right? They're both building knights, they're both building crossbows, but like you've got Royal Bloodlines, you're going to have crossbow stirrups, cantled saddles. I mean, the only upside for MSN right now is the White Tower. So apparently Myriad says the Order of the Dragon is one of his favorite civs. So we're expecting Myriad to draft Order of the Dragon in his series, right? And play it. Very critical ingredient there. None of this, I drafted it, it counts. No. If Poppy Paw's willing to do it in the semi-finals, mate, you've got no excuse. Alright, Ram's starting to come in now. I mean, I'm just not... I don't know how MSN isn't dead yet. I mean, I do. It's White Tower, right? But, like, the food has at least stabilized a bit. He's up to, what, 840 income now? Look at what Dragoman is doing up and down the map here. He's taking everything. Pro Scout's overrated. Just move villagers out. Oof. Move villagers on to the afterlife. Now it's the 40 villager lead for Dragoman. Flash coming in. Mango. I mean, it's Season 8. I can maybe believe. In Season 9, this thing is pathetic. The crossbow is just not doing enough damage. Network of Castle's not making enough of a difference here. He's trading the archers out to just try and get rid of all the crossbows. That's going to be a cleanup. And, you know, you see how deceptive the military count is. The rest of it is on water. So there's no hope here. GG gets called. It's going to be 1-1 and a decider to be had on Dry Arabia. Okay, so let's mark that bad boy up. I think is Dragoman going to play Japanese? I said earlier, like, the Delhi one's a bit awkward because if it's Delhi Chinese, the Chinese are pretty favored with the current meta around Pro Scouts. Really, really annoying. He's going to have to go Delhi, though. Like, you don't want to be Japan. I thought that this was, like, a good draft for Dragoman, but I think that French in Game 2 over Japanese has kind of screwed him a little. It's Ibids versus Delhi. Okay, so... yeah, we're going to have to dissect this, because that is very confusing. So, a very surprising final game here. Dragoman gets to go for the OP Delhi. MSN is holding on to what he loves too much here, man. He had Chinese as an option, and he chose Ibids. I am quite confused. We'll see if it works out for him. So we're going to do the 4x speed just for the early game to get through it. MSN, Ibids, I mean, this is comfort pick. Look, there's MSN trying to defend it in chat. And there's Myriad. There we go. Who's unbiased in this one, coming immediately. This is 100% a comfort pick. You aren't going to justify this to me. Even if you were to win, I couldn't justify this in my brain, right? Like, you had Chinese, man. You saw Chinese lose to Delhi the other day? I watched a gold beat Delhi with Order the Dragon. It doesn't matter. You can find examples of anything anywhere. The statistics support China being favored against Delhi, especially on this map. This is Dry Arabia. So, Dragoman is going to have the cozy opening here. Doesn't need to worry about tower victory like you normally would against China. He just gets to go Dome of Faith. Here you go. Okay, Crackety. We got our boy Crackety here. Crackety. MSN has picked Ibids. He alternatively had Chinese. Dragoman only had Delhi or Japanese. Was this a comfort pick? We'll get another unbiased opinion. Great stuff at MSN, by the way. He got 18 cheap to only 12. Probably. There we go. I mean, okay, Crackety just doesn't want to make enemies. I see how it is. He makes enemies of the devs when he moans about Nesta Bs all the time. But yeah, this is 100% a comfort pick. If those don't know, MSN has a little bit of a history of annoying top-level players by clown carring. Now, of course, clown carring got nerfed, but when you put hundreds and hundreds of hours into practicing clown carring, and clown carring gets nerfed, you might as well just say, well, I practiced the Civ, so I'm very good at the Civ. Ghazi coming out. I've got Stables racks opening. MSN, are you about to do the camel thing? I mean, it feels like he has to, right? Because he went Growth Wing. This is a little bit weird to me. Like, Growth Wing, I can kind of see where he's coming from, but the thing I don't like about Growth Wing now against Delhi is they don't play like they used to. Growth Wing was really good for IU in the meta where you done Tower Victory. But now, with the cheekiness with which Delhi can just inflate Scholars with Dome of Faith, I feel like there's a lot more worth in something like Logistics with a Desert Raider opening, or maybe... yeah, like Logistics makes the most sense. There's no way you want to do Military Wing Reinforcement. For those who don't know that the Delhi Ibid meta used to be you either done Eco Wing or Military Wing, and then people discovered Military Wing sucks compared to Eco Wing, because Eco gave you flex at least. Military Wing was like, what can I do with the first Desert Raider? And the answer was nothing, because by the time you get in the enemy's base, they have double Ghazi. Don't know why you wouldn't just go Desert Raider here. You go Desert Raider, but not just raw Desert Raider. You need something else in there. Dervish is really bad in this matchup because the Ghazi are faster than Dervishes. I mean, if you run them head first into their enemy base, I agree. But like, if you treat them as a mid-map resource of heal that you pull in and out the fights, they're pretty good. I mean, sure, Dervishes are going to scale badly 20 minutes into feudal, but like, there isn't a single matchup where that's not the case, right? The whole idea is, what does it do for your first two Desert Raiders? What it does for your first two Desert Raiders is it lets you just take a giant dump on your opponent. And it's like, you have to remember that Ghazi are only going to be hitting for 9.6 damage into, I think it's 150 health unit, 155. That heals itself while running away, right? So like, although Ghazi will get hits in, they won't get insane hits in. So like, the only point at which Dervish is scared is when you've got enough Ghazi to pinch him, which is very difficult to do as long as he's like not stepping beyond the midpoint of the map. Love him for this age, though. We've got a lot of spears. I mean, I gotta give it to him. The spears was really unexpected. This is like the rarest unit for Ibid to build. If you had to charter all Ibid games and dilute the units they build the least of, the core type of units, right? Like, so we're talking spearmen, archers, horsemen, crossbows, lancers, desert raiders. This is the one they build the least. It rarely ever comes up. I just love how when you zoom in, they get very nice, finely woven tunics. That's going to be great on the encoding side. So we finally have the Desert Raider. And the problem is you've kind of incentivized Dragoman to go archers, right? Like, this is maybe the weird element about MSN's order. You benefit more from doing horsemen into archers, because then you build a Desert Raider, because your opponent is baited to go into, like, what? He usually is going to lean more heavily on Ghazi. Like, you're expecting archers third with that formation. It coming second because you went spear opening is kind of bad for the Desert Raider now. Because as long as Dragoman micros in these fights, one Desert Raider is going to be worthless. Instead of wanting to go spears for the horseman, then I go do arch myself. Yeah, I mean, in fairness, like, you open them at the same time, though, right? Because I'm pretty sure you're producing spears when you produce horsemen, which incentivized him to get archers very quickly. Like, I like what you're trying to cook with there, right? But it's almost like you want to do stables, then second stables, then racks, right? But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the order was racks, stables, stables. And that type of build, like, relies on your opponent being a bit ignorant and not scouting. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like I said, it's a solid idea with the Desert Raiders, but like the whole idea is if you do it the way around like I said, you expand the window where your Desert Raiders are counted. Then he does stables, barracks, and I'm cooked. Are you cooked though? Because then it just like, then long term it still drags into 1-1-1, but you're against an opponent who doesn't have Tower of Victory, right? Beyond cooked. Intriguing. We are playing a very long feudal here. I think one problem with this, for Dragoman actually, is like his archers aren't the highest thing of value. He can at least benefit from a very free upgrade. Like the problem MSN has is if this feudal drags way too long, although he has more villages, the bigger problem you're going to see here is that the scholar count will get so high that when the techs eventually come, Dragoman's just going to unlock everything. So MSN is looking for a very specific window here to try and get out of feudal or get damage done. Now, funnily enough, although he done a little bit of damage here, Dragoman done damage to himself. He's been missing villager production. He's behind by 5. Mathematically, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, the growth wing gave 3, and there's 1 worker kill. So Dragoman has skimped. He is about 1.5 villages behind, and that's without textiles. That's actually a really big problem when you continue to just fully invest on both sides. Usually Dragoman will be favored because of free techs and Ghazi, but now between the Golden Age and the fact that you've also got better villager count, MSN can start to afford all the techs to play a long feudal without it hurting him. which is why we're seeing him still keeping up when it comes to raw military mass. And it's about to get a lot better than that. Horseman moving in. Won't be able to quite get the villagers. So good read by Dragoman ahead of time to build the gate. Does get out. MSN. We know he likes to fetishize how good Horseman is. He's obsessed with them. Could it be his undoing here? It's just a very tricky comp to play long term. Right? I feel like when you see people massing Horseman like this, you get one punch in Feudal, and then it's over. Right? You either move on to a new unit type, or you move on to the Afterlife. IO Eco's crazy. It can just Zug Deli and Feudal. There's windows back and forth, right? Like, the whole point is Dragoman is meant to get an advantage on the opening comp, and then he goes for Sacred Sites. Like, this is why we're having this long discussion with MSN about, like, the order in which he done things and whether it's optimal. Because why it matters so much is that if you get the order wrong, Delhi have better production speed than you. So they just suck all the air out of you. I agree. Phalanx is pretty nice, especially when you play this longer Feudal. You even got the melee tech, which big kudos to you. A lot of players actually skip on this when they go Phalanx, Mass Spears, which doesn't make sense. If you got Horsemen and Spears in your comp, that's when melee attack is justified. Dragoman. You have to posture for this clash here. Ghazi frontlining a little bit early. That Deserator, I mean, the Camelanese just really impacted that fight. He just got wiped. Oh my god, there's no front line. The Horseman afterwards. I mean, the interesting part is he could just dive onto this mass. For some reason, he steps the reinforcements. But Dragoman just losing this fight in a big way. MSN kind of giving some of it back with that Horseman. I don't know what... I have so many questions right now. I think these Horsemen may have ADHD. What? Oh, archers. Oh, archers. Oh, more archers. They couldn't decide what to attack. I mean, it's still a win for MSN because the opening play was so good. I think Dragoman just threw away his Ghazi very carelessly there. You need to kind of peel the fight and try to snipe the Desert Raiders before even thinking about going in. And then we just saw the value like Phalanx can have, right? It means you don't have to worry about the body blocking as much. But definitely the aftermath could have been cleaner. The funny thing is if MSN didn't waste time running around with the Horseman like that, you'd probably be looking at him with about another 10 military lead than what he currently has. But this is still a really good position. He does need to decap. Because he's definitely giving Dragoman way too much passive income right now. The 7-worker lead may be about to get a lot bigger here. Dragoman. MSN, I mean, he has no reason to believe his opponent will be on the tree line here. So Drag playing a very big gamble that, because it's so illogical, it becomes actually quite smart. When you know this second army, you had 5 spears left. What, you mean this fight here? Oh, you pretty much mopped him up. Like, when you walked north, it made sense for you to then rotate around the back, because you were going to finish the spears by then. Like, you did waste a lot of time running over here, right? And then when you ran back, you ran all the way around, because horse pathing is weird. I think it definitely cost you a few extra, like, archers and spears, for sure. But, like, you know, the nice thing is, even though you had a micro mislip, I actually think Dragoman had a big one as well with the Ghazi at the start. Like, the position he took that fight with the Ghazi, it was a forced error because MSN blocks off his retreat, but the way he was forced to engage is just suboptimal from Dragoman, right? Like, he's pretty much headbutting Ghazi in the spears immediately at the beginning of the fight, which is bad, right? Like, usually when you watch Horsemen in comps like this, guys, what you do, I call it the dance, right? It's almost like a male peacock trying to seduce the clan, right? Like, you shuffle back and forth with the Horsemen, you wiggle, 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 archers poke, 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 trying to get rid of spears, you wiggle more, you wiggle a little bit close. It's almost like you're dangling on the edge because you're getting so close to these spears to force them to commit and then pulling away. But we didn't get any of that in that engagement. And it was all because Dragoman got caught out of position with the archers. Didn't have the wiggle room. Wall's up from MSN. I mean, he's looking ghosty in this game. I'm struggling to see the way for Dragoman. I'm going to speed up a little bit because I want to catch into Myriad after this one. I don't know how long this one's necessarily going to be. But it's a 7, maybe that 8 worker lead. Draga has no chance of teching up in a rush here. And the worry is now you're at a point where there's nothing left to tech. Like, you've got everything. So Dome of Faith has reached its peak value. You need an out. The longer you play the Age, now actually weirdly enough, the worse it gets for you. Because MSN, he already has a villager lead. But his eco is just also competing, right? The only thing he's really missing here is the specialized picks, which you don't care about unless you're going castle, because there's nothing in this age that costs gold other than the Desert Raiders, right? The amount is kind of negligible. 15 Desert Raiders is pretty wild, though. Nice raid. Dragonman, he does catch MSN. Big mistake made there. Oh my god. All right, that's huge. They're neck and neck on economy, but Dragonman, if he wants a chance of getting back into this game, if he wants a chance of going beyond the first round of Midweek Muster number 9, he needs to achieve a difficult hold. Double the Archer count for MSN. Actually, almost triple when you consider the Desert Raiders can go into range form as well. It's going to be difficult. Dive coming through. TC Fire not really helping quick enough because it's targeting the Horseman. The Archers are going to bypass. Dragonman, I mean, this isn't going to necessarily kill him straight away. He doesn't have any of his economy in the base, but he's not going to have a military force. I mean, this is a wipe. We've reached the point where there's just so many Desert Raiders you can't even snipe out the aura. Shugazi just feel pretty irrelevant. Drag looks like he was trying to intercept some reinforcements. Ends up being forced home, but this makes it even worse. If the Ghazi were here, at least the fight could have looked a bit more competitive. But they arrive at the end when there's still 7 Desert Raiders and plenty of Archers. Now, your own base is kind of being used against you, though. I do think MSN needs to move beyond the base, by the way. Like, we are now A-clicking in a bit too much here. Yeah, I think MSN's logic is that his opponent is idling 15 villages, so it's worth it. But, like, you could be doing so much more damage. So, if I had to get in MSN's head about what he thinks happened there, I think MSN just thought Dragonman was going to GG. Right? It's like one of those moments where it's like, oh, this is over. So you just keep A-click, because you're like, you're the dog with the bone that won't let go, right? Like, if I just keep pressuring him, he has no recovery arc. The weird part is if MSN just took maybe 5 horsemen and went elsewhere, like, you have to be looking at this and going, dude, there's no way at 20.5 minutes in the game, you have 15 villages, right? So knowing this, being a smart player with a high rank, knowing this detail, I should be looking for your economy. It doesn't mean I'm immediately going to find it, but over time I will. And then instead of just, you know, idling 15 villages, you'd be killing 15, or at least idling them as well. How am I supposed to find that? Okay, fair point, but MSN, you have no excuse for this one. Your opponent was on berries. Like, that is the one you should be looking for, right? Berries, deer. Like, food is the most critical ingredient, right? Like, yeah, I agree. Wood lines make it difficult, but you've got no excuse for not checking the food. The only excuse you would have is if he was gathering your berries, but you know that because you're on them anyway. All right, let's hit the speed up, because I think we're going to have a tech up coming now. Yeah, it's on the way. And this is going to be logistics. So 3 dervishes into an immediate relic grab is really smart because he did burn a lot of his forces diving there. The worry he now has is that if Dragonman has enough resources to tech, he already has all the scholars to hoover the relics. So this is how he competes. Random skull. So this is great. This is the thing that should have been happening about 3 minutes ago. Dragonman should be switching farms now. Yeah, he's massing them up. But this is bad for him, right? Like, MSN has so much food left to work with still. We've got, like, what, about 2,000 deer at least. We've probably got about another 1,000 or so in berries. And this guy already has 25 farms. Like, that's the crazy part you have to remember. It's not like MSN needs a farm transition that's going to kill him. He's already done it. And it's almost complete. So tech up complete. Dragonman. I mean, he's not anywhere near ready to mirror. 7 cap. Okay, please tell me you've got enough stables for that. Okay, good lad. Good lad. I was about to get the beat and stick ready. You know the rule, guys. If you have to queue more than 2 units in a military building, you need more military buildings. So plenty of camel lancers coming out. Ghazi's going to shuffle into the back, but he shouldn't really do much damage. He better find a few kills here, but remember, there's already 2 relics on the way home, soon to be a 3rd. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, all but one relic is going to be MSN's. This is the only one he can't reach. Pro Scouts counter Dragavan because he can't do cheeky plays. No. I'm going to disagree with that. If you're talking about proxy bases, Pro Scouts means that Dragavan can actually do more proxy bases in this meta. You realize why, right? Like, you realize the fundamental issue of Pro Scouts is, despite the name, it doesn't make them Pro Scouts, it makes them Pro Gatherers. When you get Pro Scouts, you stop scouting. So, like, what happens in that situation is, if Dragavan scouts the map and sees where the deer is, he can go build a base where the deer are not, right? That's the detail you just need to be aware of. He did one the first game, went pretty bad. Yeah, but like that game had a bigger issue. Like he went proxy-based stables. Like I think the biggest issue is Dragavan keeps doing proxy-based stables. It's like, if he wants to do that play, then you line to the edge of the map and you walk along the edge of the map on Rocky River. That's how you dodge Pro Scouts. So Tech Up came out, but who protects the Gatherers? Wait, is Dragavan going for a trade? I don't think this works. He's got 13 torches. Like, this could just be a landmark rush, to be honest with you. MSN can do whatever the hell he wants. Yo, what is up, Worst? Case, thank you very much, mate. Appreciate the Prime sub. Are you happy? I'm a little bit happier. You want to make me happy? Setting a sub-train record. We should try and get one of them done. Choo-choo. You forgot about Pro Scouts existing? I mean, like I said, Dragavan, if you scout the map and then understand the pathing of where Pro Scouts is going to take your enemy, your proxy builds are actually easier to achieve than before. Because although there's more scouts, they're all just going to predictable locations, right? Whereas, like, in a standard game, before Pro Scouts was the meta, you don't know where the hell that scout's going. All right. Oh, my God. He found him. Wait. Oh, no. No, 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 no. It served him well for a while, but the problem now is he's about to get pinched. Reinforcing wave coming from the south, north side as well. Oh, there's just nowhere to be. He's deader than Sirius Black at this stage. Okay, that was PTSD for Harry Potter fans. It's just how dead he is, and oh my God, the hi there. This is a bit awkward. Are we sharing this neighborhood? I mean, he's got some crossbows nearby. He can send them down. We'll get a chance to. GG gets scored. He got fully surrounded in the end. Look at that. Beautifully done by MSN. So 2-1 victory, and it guarantees him now a date with B, the reigning champion in the round of 16. I'm looking forward to that one, and hopefully you guys will join me for it later too. See you in the next one. You had a practice game, Atri versus Shuji. Yeah, I just like Shuji on that map. I think it's a very good map for them in general. So let's have a look here. What can we do next? So there is the Myriad series, which I think would have started a few minutes ago. There is also, I just got news, Starflark versus Striker starting in 15 minutes. So we'll do the Myriad one. We'll kick off a Myriad. Let me have a look here. Let me get the drafts as well. My voice is dying. Na 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 na. Anyway. So, King of the Hill, Dry Arabia were the ones they picked. Rocky River is the default. Let me get that ready. Did I say Dry Arabia? I think I did, right? Yeah, and King of the Hill. And let me paste the draft. Alright. Good news is, this is live, right? So, we're only a few minutes behind. We can do predickies. Let's get ready with that. Let's hop in again. Oh, whoops. I don't want 8 times speed. Jesus. Okay, and then 2-minute predictions. Other than the cast, you said the clown car got nerfed. Please say it got removed instead because it sounds like it still exists. I mean, you can clown car, it's just really bad. Technically, it still exists. You could hop in and out of it. Also, melee didn't get affected by that change, right? So you can actually melee clown car. I don't know what you want me to say, okay? Clown car got nerfed? Sure, they did. I don't think it got removed. You just need to start using melee. But I don't know if we're going to see clown car here. This is interesting. We are going to get Order of the Dragon gameplay, baby. Anavaku, a prolific Dragon Boy. Ironically, Myriad was in the chat saying that he loves Order of the Dragon. He wants them badly. He didn't get him this draft round, but we've got a very interesting opener. Rocky River. We're at 2x speed just for the early game. We've got Juji versus Abbasids. I honestly favor Juji here. The problem you run into is that the Abbasids want to do TC Boom. And we've seen time and time again, Pro Scouts beat TC Boom. I just think Pro Scouts is a lot better. To make it even better, you're seeing why this was a classic pick on this map. That is indeed 72 food, 25 stone, and 7 wood. Not a bad map for the Juji. I mean, the classic one, I think the best one we ever saw, we basically just got core salivating. I remember in the chat at times like, wait, I need to test that seed. Show me it again. It had 4 berry patches in the center where you could Medigarden. The absurdity of this map knows no bounds sometimes. And Myriad found a very beneficial one. This is really nice because it's off to the side instead of in the center. So not as likely to be exposed or harassed. And also, to make it even better, he chose the right game to do this in. You're against an Abbasid opponent. Abbasids are not going to come out with force. So your Meditation Guard is not going to get punished. We are now going to be seeing Pro Scouts into Fast Castle. Myriad is going to get absolutely no pressure on him. Because Anavaku can't afford it. Right? He went 2 TC, but he's not at a point where he can actually start producing units yet. Archer Rangers are coming in. I just don't like the look of this opening game, man. Like, by the time you get units out, Myriad's probably going to have bare minimum 10 deer in his base. That is a pretty damn healthy 3,500 food to work with, which is more than enough to rush castle and get lances out. And this will be Shaolin Monastery as well. The reason is you need it to actually gap close the villager lead your opponent's going to build. If there are so many spots left, does that mean anyone can sign up, even golds? Yeah. Dude, like, prove that rank is just a number. Prove that Elo is just a number, man. Sign up, kick Myriad's ass, and go, you lost to a gold. Shaolin Monastery now coming in. And I don't favor Anavaku right now. I'm also confused by such early farms. You've got 20 sheep. You should, under no circumstances, be doing farms here. I like the idea from Anavaku to go 2TC. That's fine. But 2TC near Fast Castle makes more sense, right? Now, I don't think you go Eco Wing, by the way. I think you actually go Culture Wing, Preservation Knowledge, Fast Castle Military Wing. That's the counter here. Because then you have a blocker to Lancer play. The only way that Myriad would have won is if he'd done a Palace Guard build, which, for whatever reason, Juji players never want to do. They are crazy about Lancers. Lancers, the most definitely are going to be the answer in this one. Shaolin Monk's already coming out. Anavaku is queuing up the Camel Lancers, the Camel Archers. Just had a Desert Raider into Camel Lancer game that my mind is still on. But these aren't quick to produce, right? 35 seconds each. Isn't 2TC the worst of the two worlds? Either go all in or 3TC or 4TC? Yeah. Well, the point is actually Eco Wing, right? Like, going Eco Wing 2TC is kind of redundant. It only makes sense if you think you're going to play long feudal and need a lot of farms. But, like, you had 20 sheep. There's no real justification for Eco Wing. You could argue you didn't have those sheep that early. But, like, I'm just a little bit concerned, man, that the Anavaku has delayed himself way too much to a point where Myriad is benefiting from the map too much, right? Like, we already have the Monks going for the deepest relics because he knows there's no map presence. Military Wing is on the way, which, like we talked about earlier, we want to see Military Wing in Castle because you need those Camel Riders. But you're already being dove. You needed Spears. He's actually quite lucky. Myriad didn't hang around for extra kills there. We'll just back away. Mira does need to get a blacksmith down. I don't like this element about his build. Like, he's skipping on a very useful tech. Undermesh for this dive would be big because it's 2TC. Horseman is going to get stabbed down, so no pressure now at home for him. Myriad is very anti-building, isn't he? You got the bare minimum structures you would require for this build. No deviations whatsoever. What's this? Going in. You'll start chopping them down. I mean, it's the idle time alongside this, right? Like, the block on the gold is very important because you need to get Lance's camera riders going. Not to mention the veterancies. Still only a 10 eco lead in the game where Myriad should be 3 relics up in about the next 20 seconds. After which, look at the remaining ones. We've got one in the center and one right next to his base. So this is Kushki. We might actually even see Myriad going 2TC at this rate. You can see the stones been stockpiling off of the meditation garden. So, like, it's very rare that this feels valuable to have stone in for a TC build. But with the fast castle into Master Relics, there's no timing in mind here where you get most of what you need without even touching it. Lance is in again, man. You wouldn't believe he went 2TC. This is brutal. Lancers just dive straight to the archer. Riders have arrived. Villagers just need to be the target. The Camelot needs does make it a little bit more difficult, but there's enough here to do some serious damage. Tech up complete. Lancers are going to flop dead, but Myriad, all he needs to do now is switch Pulse Guard. PG is your next step, right? Like, Lancers have done you well, but Pulse Guard will set you free. Because you get 2 Pulse Guard for the price of a Lancer. The alternative is you just add in Juke. Like, your opponent has built camels and spears, right? Like, Juke is actually substantially impactful here. And the fact that your opponent's going crossbows makes it even better. Better approach from multiple DC's military wing? No. I get where you're coming from, but military wing against fast castle pro scouts doesn't do anything. It's difficult because, like, think about it, your opponent isn't coming out, right? What you want to do here is culture wing, 2TC, FC, right? And that is the type of build that has been proven to work historically. Like, you guys remember when Ibers used to take a dump on Abbasids? What Abbasid players realize is Ibers can simply be beaten by you just going 2TC and fast teching, which you can do because the other interesting thing about doing 2TC and like culture wing in this matchup, the tech time is going to be worse than Juji. That's just a granted, right? But like what you end up with, which is really nice, is you basically get Tang Dynasty. You get a better Tang Dynasty, right? Because you save 20% of your tech up. Yeah, this I'm not really sure what Anavaku's meant to do here. The Zhuge coming that we asked for, like this is the death sentence. Because now he sees all these lances, his only reaction can be spears and crossbows. Like, the issue for Anavaku is he's not far enough ahead on villagers to be a transition behind. Zhuge is just going to wipe him off the planet. We even have the Dali horses coming. Remember, that is the 20% attack speed buffer. If you go 2TC culture wings, usually you can feudal all in you. I mean, that's the value of scouting, right? Is what I'd say to that. Like I said, I think this is a hard matchup for Abba, either way you swing it. But 2TC culture wing feels like it's your best bet. Unless, Gully, you think free TC is the way. But, like, you're going to have to defend that a little. I think free TC just gets ran through by Juji Fast Castle. Like, actually, arguably, if you go free TC, you're definitely going to get Shuganu all in, right? Alright, guys, I figured it out. Trade wing. Trade wing. Because then when they go mass Shuganu, you've got armored caravans to protect you. We figured it out. Free TC full walls is good enough. Alright, I'm going to hold you to that. Next time, guys, next time Gully is in an Abo Juji matchup, if he doesn't free TC, you need to remember this moment. And then for the next 4 months, every time you see Gully, you need to at him and go, why didn't you free TC, bro? Okay? Gonna make him eat those words. Yeah, I think like if you go free TC, you just get all in on the third TC. Just think about, like, mathematically, think about the amount of Zhuge Nu the Zhuge player would have if you went free TC. It's lofty. Is this cyber mobbing? You're young. You should be able to take us all on, right? Like, something about, like, old people reflexes and crap. You're at poking that back line. Lancers do need to carry the fight eventually here. The crossbow count is only sitting at 6. And Anavaki, I'm seeing a lack of sheep. I'm seeing a lack of arms. I'm seeing a lack of hope. You can scout, as you said. Yeah, but you've just gone free TC. Well, like to your whole point before, you said you can scout it, but what point? What difference does it make? Okay, but if I scout you doing free TC, like, you know, if you scout me coming up, you've done free TC, what do you do? Right? You see the conundrum here? This is what I mean about, I think this is genuinely one of ABBA's hardest matchups right now. Shalom Monk's now in for the party, right? Like, you know, they've done their services. 3 Sacred Sites locked in. 4 relics. Myriad, he could actually just go for a farm transition now. You already see the wood stockpiling. Surprised he actually prioritized that over the Yuan switch. Pagoda is definitely worth it here. KP versus Gully grudge match when we are a 900 viewer average streamer. Okay? Guys, I'm setting you metric goals here. This is why you got to go out and tell everyone about the streams, and then you get these things, you know? I mean, this is just sad to watch right now. Anavaki. If he wins this, it's because Myriad doesn't kill, right? Like, this is on Myriad to obviously end the game. But this should be an unwinnable position for Anavaki. Oh my dear god. Oh. Guys, Eco Wing was worth it. Look at that. We got our third TC. Cha-ching. Shannon behind this, so we're going to be seeing the farm transition about the extra 20 seconds. I love the war going on in my chat. You have a lot of promises on 800 subs. No, we set different metrics. Not subs, it's average viewers, right? So, like, for example, people keep asking when am I going to play the game. Well, I've got an amazing PC that can do it now, and I said, you know, if we start reaching an average of like 700, 750 viewers, we'll do a Road to Conk series. I think that's reasonable. It sets some nice goals to target. And also, man, if people want it that badly, they got to keep turning up to make it happen. I don't think people want it that badly. Oh my god, Anavaki wants an army badly. This is painful to watch. I mean, Textiles at least minimized the losses a little bit, but he's already dead. Oh, the good news is there's at least one more game left. But the bad news is this one had to hit you, D. Cool. Oh, the other bad news is Anavaku loves Order of the Dragon a lot, so I think Myriad probably has a slight advantage in knowing what his opponent's going to pick next. We'll find out in a second. Let's choose one single Civ for Road to Conk or play more Civs. I think I made a point of, like, we do probably, like, Road to Conk, one Civ. I think it'd be interesting to do like a Road to Conk Japanese only, because I keep saying to people that even though Japan sucks at the highest level, I think if you iron out a solid build order, you can very easily reach Conk with that Civ. I think in some ways, like, Japan is one of the easiest Civs to reach Conk with at the moment. Not the easiest, but one of the easier, because of the simplicity of approach, right? Like, if you, it's the same logic of, like, you know, Delhi, really, really good if you figure out their first 15 minutes. But, like, figuring out Delhi's first 15 minutes is substantially harder than figuring out Japan's. I just remembered I haven't been name in the series, have I? Oops. All right. We're hopping in the game too. Go. Oh my god. Let me just bump up the score quickly. Oh, MSN's name still up. Let me fix that. Let's mirror it out. Oh my god, it's like Frodo with the One Ring. He resisted it for a while, but he can't stay away. We have a new weirdest pick for King of the Hill. It's Order of the Dragon. Alright, Anavaku is either a genius or just obsessed. This is 100% a comfort pick for Anavaku. This is his most played Civ. He's a bit infamous for this. If you remember, guys, a few weeks back in the Midweek Muster, we had a phenomenal series between Dimmu and Anavaku, where Anavaku was able to take a game off of Dimmu on Cliffside, playing OOTD against HRE. Well, it will be a Roman Empire on the other side, but a different one. Myriad has got the Byzantines. And we've seen the Byzantines look actually pretty damn good on this map. Don't win every single game, but the cannon builds are quite scary. And I'm curious to see if that's the way he's going to go here. Predictions just went up, by the way. Cataphracts would be very interesting, actually. If you guys think about it, like, Cataphracts of Byzantines kind of makes you Order the Dragon, right? Like, it's not quite Gilded Knight stats, but it's very close. And the issue there is, like, Order the Dragon, unless they open spears, is going to struggle to get the blockers. And yes, actually, technically, Prime subs are free, because if you've got Amazon, you already have a free sub sitting there. Like, you still have to pay for Amazon, but, I mean, most of you have that anyway. But it's crazy how many people forget they actually have a Prime sub. Don't forget to use it, guys. Also, reminder that Prime subs do not renew. You have to use them every single month. And Prime subs, you get them on your account, your Amazon account, when you have Amazon Prime. So, Grand Winery coming in. We'll just hit the fast forward until we're in Feudal Age. I think we are literally like maybe 2 or 3 minutes out from live. So, I guess pretty close. Is this going to be Arkin? I really like the idea of Arkin here. There's just so much wood to munch on. Oh, God, it's always my work. He's going to... Wait. I don't think I like where this is going. Because if this is going to be the old school Men-at-Arms build... You're doing it against a Civ that has a lot of premium units in Feudal Age, right? Lombos, Javelins are high base damage. So they can actually kite and kill you. Then you got Limitane that are actually just tankier spearmen. Remember, they have 10 extra health. I don't know, this is kind of problematic. Why did you just get an ad in French? Because you're French. No, so even if there is a higher viewership of French people watching like AoE4 at the moment, whatever, the logic is that ads are to a certain degree regionalized, right? So you should be getting, like, if you're French speaking, you should be getting French speaking ads. Check the trade post, Mercs. Oh no, Byzantines are going to lose. They don't have a trade post to work with here. So Anavaku, it's just doing fast castle. Yeah, this is going to be fast castle into, what, like undermesh? And then double level undermesh, you rush into the enemy base. Okay, I kind of believe. Maybe I'm delusional for this. Maybe I'm huffing a bit too much of a summon. But I really like Anavaku's position here. I think there is a way you could throw it away, and it's probably Regnitz. I think all of the Dragon players have been realizing more and more that Regnitz is kind of a bait. It's very difficult to justify unless you build a big lead for Feudal. Part of the reason is you can't have Prelates out ahead of time as Order of the Dragon. The other part is that, if you think about it, like building a monastery, going Prelates, going for these relics, you don't then have the resources to actually build military units because all of your options are so damn expensive. So Burgrave, by comparison, usually gives you some presence on the map. Your Indians still get French ads. Well, clearly you guys have been Googling the Voulou Couler Chez Accessoire song a little bit too much. Accessoire. It's on you. Stop watching Moulin Rouge, you'll stop getting these ads. Okay? I know it's a classic movie. Well, I hear that, I've never watched it. But how about this for a classic call? It is indeed the Burgrave. It's burger time. You blame M-Lord? The problem with blaming M-Lord is if you keep blaming for everything, it gives him more credit, and that makes his head bigger. So you got to be very careful with that. It's a dangerous strategy, man. We love Marine Lord. He's a very talented player, but if you let him know that too much, his confidence keeps swelling and swelling and swelling until his head is so big that next time there is a tournament in Castle, he won't be able to walk through the castle gates. So you got to be very careful about that. All right, so Longbow's coming. We actually have a Kyro Siphon. Wait, what? Is this the right way, Myriad? I mean, he's starting to stop half for a tech up behind, but I don't like the Kyro Siphon. It's against the Civ that has E-repairs. Why? You think Marine Lord's confidence is already maxed out? No, dude. Like, you'll know it's maxed out when he turns up on a stage and just, like, looks to the crowd, raises his hands, cheers, 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 and then, like, rips his trousers off to reveal, like, I don't know, party pants underneath or something. You know, like, glittery and strobe lighty. That's when you'll know he's reached peak confidence. Alright, so. Wall's going to go down. Golf claps. But what else is this doing? I think Miraz's logic is if he doesn't have gold, he can't play the game. So I kind of see where he's coming from. I mean, this is really inefficient. Like, using villagers to... Oh, wait, what? Oh, no. He got burned by the... The Kyro Cypher just insta-killed him. E-repairs coming in really early. And, yo, what is up? Tormir coming in with a sub. Thank you very much, mate. Welcome back to the Swarm. That was not how things are meant to play out. I mean, it's a bit clunky, but sometimes the Kyro Siphons could just evaporate a target. That's wild. The weird part is running away from them causes it, but running towards them doesn't. Apparently, running towards a hot flame makes it less effective than running away from it. I don't know how that works, but there we go. He did at least get a kill out of it. I think that's kind of worth it. Tech up's now coming. You can't afford to lose longbows. That's the catch. If the longbows die, most definitely not worth. And we already have the undermesh. So damage heavily reduced. You'll better get through one of the men-at-arms. In fact, turning around with that longbow would be worth it. Yep, there we go. So now you just want to run, run, run. Tech up is coming from your head now. Anavaku needs to look for a monastery timing here. Like, his comp is very gold heavy. The Gilded Archer switch is pretty smart, though. Myriad, oh my god, he took the bait. He actually took the bait. Oh, this is sick. So Anavaku, he can actually win just by blobbing Gilded Archers. Because remember, there's a very cool tech. We don't see it very often for the Dragon, but when you get it, it's insanely powerful. Scale armor. +3 ranged armor is huge here against the Longbow contract. So Longbow plus crossbow is going to do nothing. And then I think you just, you know, weirdly enough, like you definitely are going to want to still use the Burgrave, right? So just put a few men-at-arms anyway, maybe a few spears. Landsnecht is actually, I think, your golden goal. Landsnecht are incredible. I think they're still slightly overtuned. They're one of the few units of all the Dragon that when you look at the stats, like mathematically it feels better than having two of the weaker ones. I remind you had an Amazon Prime account? There we go. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate it, mate. Yeah, like, I think a lot of people forget. Another fun one, guys, is like, go ask your parents. Right? Like, you know, how many old folks have Amazon Prime, but they don't watch Twitch? Just go, hey, is it okay if I just link your account here? It's not going to cost you anything extra. It just gives me a few perks for my hobby. And most parents are like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then boom. I get money, you don't have to worry about ads, you'll win. Wait, Lombo's getting the perfect snipe out straight away there. Need to go for the guild crossbows. They're higher value right now. Guys, we do actually have it coming. Gilded Armor's on the way. It's not here yet. I think Anavaku has jumped the gun on this timing here. Oh, I don't like this. I mean, the crossbow's going to snipe him down. I think Anavaku didn't respect the longbow upgrade there. So Myriad be able to shuffle his way out. He's going to be the first one to pick up a relic here. Now, Anavaku still has more military sway if they all come together. But it's not really the way that Myriad should be looking to fight. The issue that Order of the Dragon usually have, the reason why they look so weak so often is they can't play wide, right? They just have less units. Okay, so with Gilded Armor complete, this would be the perfect point for Myriad to switch to some Lance Nectar. I don't know if it's going to be that much better. He's probably just going to stick longbows because it's safer, but like the problem now with Gilded Armor coming in, the +3, like you just don't hit for anything. Like all this comp bar the crossbowman that's soon to be produced doesn't care. Longbows are so good against Gilded Archers due to the kiting. Really? You can't kite that well. If you have enough front line, maybe. And oh my god, you're right. And a fucking no! He hasn't got the veterancy. There's no way he knows. Like, you would not pro scale armor over veterancy, right? Especially with 8 of these guys. Okay, guys. I think Anavaku might be dead. This is looking very difficult to believe in right now. He doesn't have a front line, right? Like, it's bad enough you don't have a front line, but also on top of that, you know, yes, you've got more effective HP than what you had without scale armor, but you're missing out on the extra HP and damage you get from veterancy. So Gully's making a fair point about Gilded Archers, right, with the static. We've talked about this before, like, the stupid part is a lot of these archer units, like Lombos, normal archers, if you start a step correctly, you actually increase your average attack speed across like a minute. With Gilded Archers, starter stepping is bad because your attack point is way too low, right? So, you know, the way I like to compare it is it's kind of like a shotgun, right? Like a shotgun, you want to shoot, move, shoot, move, shoot, move. A minigun is like, you start whirling up, and then you get your value out of a minigun the longer you hold the button down, right? The longer you shoot. That's the difference between standard archers and Gilded Archers. You almost feel like animation canceling if you micro Gilded Archers. Well, it's so difficult though. Like the other issue is just the APM requirement is just through the ceiling to make that justifiable, right? It's almost like, you know, if we had that mod come back where 2 players can control 1 civ, then Gilded Archers could be like god tier. It's like, okay, you have 1 job this game, okay? It's like, yeah, what am I doing? You just need to micro the archers. Oh, okay. Don't think you've done the men at arms upgrade? Nah, Golden Cuirass only now on the way. I don't think that was as big of a deal as skimping on the veterancy. Dude, it's such a shame for Anavaku, man. It's a huge oversight. Game that felt like it was quite close and now just feels pretty problematic. We do have a cap on the central sacred site. Outpost coming up, and we know that means it's going to be Maganellan placements. Lombo's in again. I mean, dude, this is horrible to watch. There's already so many Varangian as well. You've seen what Myriad is doing. He's going straight after the crossbowman. The only upside for Anavaku is that he never vetted the archers, right? So now being mass crossbows is better. That means you have no answer to the longbows now. Yeah, the wild part to me is like actually Lance Nectar would have been maybe decent here against the Varangian. Because then you could have brute forced your way through the front line and then reach the Lombos, right? It's like, it's difficult. If there's too many Lombos, you die with Lance Nectar, but in the early phase, there really wasn't that many Lombos. Yeah, another Kara Siphon. Myriad looking to end this game as it began. I mean, it might be over before the Kara Siphon completes. Anavaku just has nothing. I mean, more than one way, right? Like, wait, what? How did you? What? Okay. Normal horsemen would be huge. Yeah, it's like, so one of the big things I've highlighted with All the Dragon that I think screws them hard is that in the early mid-game, this Civ suffers from difficulty transitioning because compared to other Civs, their transition is twice as expensive, right? Like getting that first horseman out, double the price. So like stockpiling those resources, holding onto them, having to wait so long, big problem. Obviously in the late game, the problem's different. In the late game, the actual problem for All the Dragon is they just don't have enough physical entities to play a map fully, right? It's like, you know, All the Dragon is maybe a Civ that could work on, for example, a mountain pass type map, or Altai, but they can't work on like a dry Arabia, or even a King of the Hill where there's like 3 angles of approach potentially. Like, I think that's part of why he went All the Dragon here, is like it's at least a more closed map on King of the Hill. But, you know, those two issues at their core are the biggest things stopping OOTD from feeling relevant. And you can see it very obviously, right? Like when you take All the Dragon to a water map where they don't have those limitations, they may not be an S tier Civ, but I think most people would agree that All the Dragon on water is like high B, maybe close to A tier. I think Anavaku's just processing the loss now. Right, remember, it's an elimination, single elim, best of 3. But I think the 2-0 is undeniable. This is going to reach the tree line, and once that happens, it's curtains closed. In fact, Mirab might not know which tree line he's on. Oy, oy, oy. I mean, even if he doesn't have to find the worker kills, the lack of them doing anything is a problem. We do have a mango coming. The problem with the mango is you need a front line. Like, yeah, mango, cool. It does stop longbows. The problem here is you have nothing to stop 10 Varangins, 10 Spearmen, and a few Langschnechter. In fact, the longbows might even dive in for the kill. We've seen it before. Instead, they mop up that backline. Oh, God, this is so pathetic to watch. Ah, the classic OTD. I have one of everything, and I'm losing. Yeah, this is done. So, that means that Myriad is going to proceed through to the round of 16 for a revenge day up against SAS that Tormund knew won in week number 8. That's going to be a fun one to witness. Looking forward to it. See you in that one. All right. Oof. Yes, Gigi. Well played, Mr. Myriad. Oh, wait, it was Elyon. Wait. Oh, you're right. No. Yes, sorry, I'm getting mixed up. But you usually get SAS, don't you? I'm pretty sure you usually go up against SAS. Yeah, 1-2, 1-2. There, yes, you're correct, Mira. My bad. It's just I remember you definitely go up against him a bloody lot. So, 1 second. Alright, so just double check something. So, next up, let's have a look. What's the schedule looking like? We did just... Ah, there we go. Numidan versus M7 just started. So let's get that one going. So, let me have a look. Grab that draft. Alright, so it looks like we're going to King of the Hill, Baldland from them as the 2 picks. Rocky River default. So, King of the Hill and Baldland. Alright, there we go. So, whoopsie, need to update Myriad's name because it keeps doing that, doesn't it? Yes. So, if we do that, and then we go import draft and add in Numidan. Dude, I'm happy to see your Numidan back again, man. It's so nice. So nice to see some faces that passed beyond the scene just coming back around. Okay, so let's hop into game 1. Ooh, HRE versus Malians. I mean, this is pretty good for HRE, right? They're able to go for the Spearman Rush. Bit of a harder map, though, on Rocky River. Just now seeing that goddamn knight in your PC. Hell yeah, Carl Brandy. Dude, exclamation mark PC if you want to see the components and see how you can get your hands on this as well. And also how you can construct a god tier PC. This thing, 100% worth. The only thing I might change is, like, I need to talk to the AMD guys. I would love to get my hands on the X3D version of the 9950 I've got. I think for you guys, like for a lot of you gamers out there, the 9800 X3D will make a lot more sense because that's more gaming oriented, whereas the one I went for is more for production as well. Will we try out Olden Era? I can 100% guarantee I'm going to be looking at Olden Era when it comes out. We might even stream some of it. I'm a big Heroes of Might and Magic fan. Do you even have to ask that question? Oh, I got this question for you. How did Mali not get their crotch stomped on this? We've got Numidan versus M7. One and all. Welcome back to Midweek Muster number 9. Apologies if I sound dead. I half am. My throat is in a really buggered position right now. We don't have a Dark Age Rax opening from Numidan, and I'm curious about that. Now, there's two possibilities here on why Numidan isn't doing the Rax Rush opening. Possibility 1 is Numidan has been missing for a while. If you guys are unfamiliar with Numidan, this is a very talented fellow. We saw his rise in the road to Red Bull Wallol for Red Bull Wallol Legacy in 2022. Had a lot of potential, but then really just disappeared for a long time. Has kind of been in and out. He's a very talented lad. Got a lot of praise. Some of the top players, like I remember BC was saying that he thought really highly of him. I'm glad he's back, man. This is the second week in a row that he's participating. I hope this becomes a regularity. I'm hoping a lot more players are starting to wake up and pay attention to how useful and important this is. But this is really cool to see him coming back. But because he's been missing for a long time, to bring it back to the reasons why we're not getting a Rax opening, it's either he doesn't know about the Rax opening because it's a more recent thing. The other possibility that I think is more likely is Rocky River's a bit RNG. You aren't guaranteed that the gold is going to be forward. If the gold is back here, I think it's a lot harder for you to outpost rush than, say, like maybe a Dry Arabia or something where you're a bit tight on the spawn. And the thing is, also, your rush will get scouted very early because on Rocky River, more so than other maps, the optimal scout route. Do you guys know what the optimal scout route is for Rocky River? Right out like this. It is optimal to run straight into the center and then go up and down. Because about, I'd say, roughly 60% of the sheep rather, spawn along this river area. So that is your dense area that you're looking to chase. And that means it's more likely that the Spearman opening gets scouted early. So instead, it's just going to be playing safe into the Arkin. Let me get predictions up. I actually forgot about that. So game 1, M7 or Numidan. I do expect a lot of the votes to go probably towards Numu here. Definitely has proven himself in the past, but I wouldn't discount M7's potential. He's actually really been impressing me, man. Like, remember, this is the guy that was able to take games off of Benny Boy himself. I think, was it a water map he took out for Dimmu, actually, which is really impressive. The way that's impressive as well is, like, when you think about water maps compared to land maps, I know people have their feelings on water maps and why they hate them, why they don't like them, whatever the degree of your hate for it may be. But the thing that you can't discredit them for is they are very micro-skill oriented, right? Like, the way you have to implement the fights, the way you have to play around them, they're incredibly micro-heavy. So the fact that M7 was able to take it from Dimmu is bloody impressive. So, tech up's about to complete. I think we are about a minute out from live. I remember when I got in, we were like a minute and a half behind. So we'll just speed up to get there for this early game. Let me know what you guys think about Rocky River being back, actually. It's been out of rotation for, I want to say, has it been 2 map pulls now? We thought it'd be really cool to bring it back. Because it's quite a well-known map. I think a lot of civs can work here. It does potentially run the risk of being one of those maps that can drag a later phase of the game. But when we last saw it, walls weren't nerfed. And also, we were still partially in like a 2TC-esque meta. So I thought it was worth bringing back in. The thing I like about Rocky River as our default map for week number 9, I always try to look for default maps that I think are going to be more widely applicable, right? So we revisit King of the Hill because potentially there was 6 to 8 picks that could make sense on that map. In reality, it ended up being, you know, primarily 3 or 4. But with a map like Rocky River, you could very easily, kind of like a Dry Arabia idea, say, oh, almost all the civs could work here. Sengol might seem too far, but M7's going to go for it anyway. We do have the Spearman now coming. I believe we just have Pro Scouts on Pro Scouts. So this is going to favor M7. That's why Numidan's adding in the spears. The good news about those spears is they are very fast. The bad news is they're very fast at running to the wrong location. You went Pro Scout? Yeah, you actually will see A-Tree typically go Pro Scouts in this matchup. But the thing you want to do first is you always want to open with the spears to block the play. I think in this game, Numidan took a different approach because the problem you have is you go spears opening on a map like Dry Arabia because there's 4 deer stacks, right? And with your movement speed, and 2 of them being close together, you have a good blocker play. On this map, there is not 2 deer stacks. On this map, there is a pretty lofty, I think it's, is it 10? It's usually about 10. So there's 9 here, but that's because one already got taken. So just even though they're kind of all around the same area, they're so wide that a few spearmen can't block it. I think Circus Sight should be in the middle. I can kind of see where you come from there. Like, you could actually have them in the passes. That would also stop as much obnoxious walling, or at least make it a little bit less efficient. So M7 is actually playing to the edge. I don't like the fact he's added archers here. It's actually a really big problem. For a start, he rushed out before he had enough, which means Spearman can chase you down. Another thing is your opponent already has horsemen. You knew he could have had horsemen because he had his stables. Yeah, a little bit surprised M7 didn't just play Donzos so he can defend his own base. Like, there's actually a risk that Numidan floods him now. I mean, you can see the numbers just stockpiling really quickly here. There we go. The Donzos are coming in. Like, I actually think the way you kind of want to play this is Donzo, and then you could add in maybe a few Sofo as you go. Because Sofo are going to be really good at sniping out the archers. Also just allows you to chase the scouts, right? While your warrior scouts just focus on gathering. Because like the goal of this is it's just a race between the two to get more food. So you want to do what you can to delay your opponent and accelerate your own. Alright, how did you guys predict in the end? Wow, 50-50. I mean, dude, I put a lot of respect on it. Like I said, I think these two are both very competent. You know, with M7 just proving himself getting some cool 2-1 series. Numidan, you know, historically looked really solid. I think it was quite a loss when he left, right? Like, you know, he was one of the upcomers. I think Numu around the end of 2022 was kind of in the position that we saw Kiljadi approaching like a year and a half later, right? Where it's like, man, this guy is on the verge. Going for coming that pit mine though. I don't know, man. M7. What is his win condition here? You don't want to play a long feudal, right? You need to go for some sort of castle-esque rush because a long feudal will just be better for Numidan with the gathering speed buff. So where Pro Scouts can feel really dirty on HRE is because, you know, you don't even have to worry about transitioning farms. You just have all this 40% buffer. And it was a good spawn, by the way. Like, he got gold and the wood. So the entirety of his economy is being buffed by 40%. The good news for M7 is he does have premium units to make up for the lack of a premium economy. It's not a bad economy, right? It's just not quite on the HRE level. But Javelins will be substantial in the defense. The Donzos will be very hard to breach. We're getting a classic Marlin strat. What's going to happen is M7's going to have to bunker down. What Numidan should be looking to do here is just going for greed. Castle Age is your play. Because you've just identified that your player on the other side is going into a comp that can't come out. Like, if you think about all the games where you watch Javelins Donzos, 90% plus of them, the Marlin player refuses to leave his base. Why is M1 not playing in KPMM? We refuse to invite him to the finals. Yeah. Hey, so Marine Lord, I think he wanted to focus on the 2v2 tournament before, and maybe now he doesn't want to reveal strats. But, you know, if we're being totally fair, based on KPMM performances, it would be fair to say that Puppy Paw is the better player. He has the most wins. it would also be fair to say that B is the better player of 2025. Because currently B has more victories in tournaments than Marine Lord in 2025. Just 2 for 4. Man, isn't Mio's M7 kind of getting outplayed? This is classic Marlin brain. They're so obsessed to protect the pit mine that they don't protect the other pit mine, right? H3 is just so good at playing Benny Hills. Like, it's crazy when you look at the fact that Numidan has got 20 more military units than M7, but he also is teching up. And what does M7 have to show for it? He built 2 ranches. Oh. Does KPMM reset every week? Yes. We start again from around the 32 every single Friday. So Thursday is grand finals. We play through the next week starting Friday. So Friday to Thursday every single week. I'll treat to you. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised Marino didn't sign up because he did say he was going to start playing after the team tournament. But, you know, there's no pressure on the players. Like, they don't have to play. They don't want to. As I've said, I really want to see other tournaments find ways of adopting the midweek muster system so that it encourages regular play from everyone, right? I don't want players to feel that they have to play every single week, but I also don't want players to feel like they can just skip every single week and it doesn't matter. What do I do as a job in real life? This. This is my job. Da-da. Okay, so M7 has a really big problem here. If this was a long feudal, I'd favor him. Because Numidan, even though he has the 40% buffer, would have to dive into one of the hardest types of comps to break. A full range lineup, right? Because the Donzo's a hybrid. But now, with that tech up, Numidan just made it about the map wider. Right? He just said it's now about the relics, now about the sacred sites. So M7 has to come out. Javelin Donzo comp doesn't do very well when it has to come out. It leverages all these tiny choke points in their base to get an advantage. That's not going to exist when you come out. Yeah, true. We need to get more players signing up anyway. Remember, like, I think some people maybe resist signing up because they're deterred when they're like, oh, what's the point while I'm playing? It's about improvement. That's really what Midweek Muster is about. Competitive improvement. Right? It's not about how you begin the journey. It's about how you end it. Alright, ones if you think M7 is going to win this. Twos if you think Numidan's going to take it. Knight's now coming in as well. Wow, look at that. We totally don't have a bunch of H3 fanboys in the chat. He's diving in. Veterancies have come through. It makes it very difficult for M7 to contest this. Funnily enough, actually, all Numidan needs is a lot more spearmen. Men-at-arms could also work here. Actually surprised we don't have MAA. Doesn't really seem to be mattering too much. He's at least trading evenly to get rid of his feudal army. So M7 does get a stay of execution, but gets forced to reinvest. And is still only 3 ranches deep. Numi behind this is getting those relics we talked about. Right? This one's guaranteed. This one's now picked up. It's got to move out probably to the north side soon as well. I just don't see a world in which Numidan doesn't get 5 relics here. Puppy versus Marine Lord, is it too greedy to ask? I mean, if someone wants to throw $200 into a show match, they'd probably both turn up. For like one series. Like I said, the way that you really push people to participate in Midweek Muster is by being like, hey, X and Y tournament, have you guys considered using the Midweek Muster to qualify some slots? Then players have an incentive beyond just the prize pool I can provide. It feeds the system. And to be honest, it's a league circuit. Makes sense that it should. But, oh god, this no longer makes sense for M7. He's losing way too many javelins. Numi needs to be careful not to sacrifice too many archers here. But honestly, if like you're killing 1 archer but losing 1 javelin, it's just a bad trade for M7 anyway. Sofa's now getting added in. I think M7 is just flailing. Right? It's like when you go to have a fight with someone who doesn't know how to fight, and then they just start swinging their arm. Now, I'm not saying that M7 doesn't know how to play OE4, but I'm saying he doesn't know how to get out of this. So he's slapping his arms around and praying that Numidan is going to stop diving, that Numidan is going to be one of those Imperial rushing HRE boys, but we can see clearly Numu has plenty of troopers coming down the line. And yeah, there were many spots, by the way. So, like, reminder to people, I mean, Midweek Muster 10, 11 should have signups open anyway. Sign up for these. You know, you might not make it if all the top players come. Cool, but, like, you might. And, to be honest, even if it seems like you are gold up against a comp, yes, you're going to lose the game, but if you actually care to learn, you care to evolve, there are actually things to be taken away. And bare minimum, you know, if you don't care about that, you get the feature on the channel. I'm hoping M7 is going to be able to show us some life here, not look like a gold up against a Kong, though, because this game one didn't really see any signs of hope for him. Numidan takes an early lead. But we are not done yet. I'll see you in a second for game number 2. Would Kong players have issue if they lose elo to low players? I mean, if they're losing elo to, like, if they're losing to, like, a gold rank player, that's on them, right? Like, this is my point. Like, the elo system shouldn't be treated in a way that people are scared to participate, right? Like, dude, if you're good, you're good. If you're not, then you lose. Jazz hands, right? Like, yeah, if you're gonna lose to a gold level player, you 100% deserve to lose a crap ton of elo, right? So. Game 1, let's mark it up. We had Malians versus the Holy Roman Empire. Early win for Numu. Let me... Wait, did I just do this the wrong way around? I did, didn't I? I am a genius. I am smart. It's the left side win. There we go. So, what have we got left? King of the Hill or Borderland? With M7's remaining draft, King of the Hill seems pretty reasonable. I don't think Numu has a crazy pick if you go English there. You could also go Byzantines, though. I think M7 is going to take us into King of the Hill, English, probably 2 TC build. Hope it's going to be a Council Hall opening, just so he gets that initial pressure. But let's have a look. Yep, King of the Hill. M7 actually chose the Byzantines, so reserving English / Iabids for Borderland, which is intriguing because I think actually Byzantines / Iabids would have more value against a potential French pick on that third map. Yeah, I was surprised by that. I guess English can deal better with Juji, but like I just think if you've got English sitting there, Numu, it's a 50-50 coin flip either way you go around about it. I just think it's a little bit safer if you have Byzantine IU there for map number 3. Not much, like maybe 5% safer. But yeah, mark that out. Numidan winning game 1. Let's get predickies ready for game number 2. Just catching up on chat. How's YouTube doing today? You having a good time? Of course you are. Those guys are always chill vibing, enjoying the game. By the way, the fan can't be heard anymore in the background, right? Guys, let me know. Because I noticed on one of the days it could because I accidentally installed a piece of software that was maxing out the fan speed. But I think I fixed it now. Oh, let me flip that actually. Dude, why was the loading screen the other way around for what they are in game? That's so baiting. Can't hear a fan? Good. Game number 2, and it's starting to look hopeful for M7. We're in King of the Hill, Byzantines versus Chinese. I mean, this has historically been a pretty decent matchup for Byzantines. Things are a little bit different now. I think China has actually reached S tier with the Pro Scouts meta. So it's going to be very revealing whether Byzantines actually don't win this matchup anymore. The reason they used to is in the old school meta, without Pro Scouts, it used to be that you would get your hands on the Mass Spears plus Nest of Bees after rushing Fast Castle, and Byzantines would clap your cheeks just with the Western contract alone. Times are very different. China has a lot more flexibility right now than they've ever had to do whatever the hell they want with the game. This is definitely the type of map where we could see Pro Scouts. The negative of doing it, it is a more direct map on King of the Hill. So M7 should be able to block you on some of that gathering more freely and easily than, say, a Dry Arabia. Am I seeing emote spams? Bam. Look at that. Pow, pow. So, Scout openings are actually neck and neck. That's actually really good for M7. You want to try and strip extra resources away from Numu, because then it locks him definitely into the Pro Scout choice, and instead of trying to mirror, which I don't ever want to see a Byzantine player doing, you can just focus on the berries and focus on the Merc Pump. We're probably going to be looking at Western contract play in this matchup. I think you can play Horseman plus Lombos really effectively here. The reality is you don't want to go Javelin contract because your opponent is probably going to be trying to go into Horseman anyway. And Lombos can actually just try to cut out the Zhug. So, you know, Zhug comes a lot later for China if they even do it, because obviously they need to do the Barbican. Of course, the Pro Scout meta to be a thing. They haven't changed Pro Scouts that much. So, this is the interesting thing. For a start, metas can just develop by themselves over time, but there are a few things. So, for a start, walling, I actually think, hurt not Pro Scouting because you can't just secure food as easily anymore. The other thing was we were moving away from a TC meta. When you move away from a TC meta, someone has to take its place, right? And if it's going to be Fast Castle, then Pro Scouts helps that a lot. Add in the simplicity as well, because they've done quality of life changes so that Pro Scouting is easier. And you have this pot of ingredients that has started to brew, started to cook. And now I'm going to go ahead and be the guy who says I added the Himalayan salts to really spice it up at the end. Because some of the maps we had definitely helped embellish the value of Pro Scouts. Most notably, when we started adding Scarguard into the map pool, people just started practicing Pro Scouts a lot more. Add all these components together. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm fully responsible. It doesn't mean I take full credit, whatever the hell, if you like it or hate it. But it definitely had an effect on just amplifying what was already getting popular. And it was already going to get popular as well, because the 2v2 tournament, I don't think we saw Pro Scouts. Well, we saw some, not like every single game. But it just is another environment where people experienced it and went, wow. Okay, this is like, I mean, there's so much deer on the map. I should be doing this. So yeah, the way I like to think about it is, it's kind of like Cataphracts when they got buffed. It took a while before people went, oh yeah, no, this is dumb. And they just all start doing it, right? There can be things that are actually broken for a while in the game. People just need to be shown it to understand it. Like, you guys have all had this on the ladder. You've never seen a certain build before. And when you see it, you go, what? And then you try it, right? Like a fast Imperial Deli. It sounds like the dumbest thing ever, but in the current meta, it's actually not. Pro Scout should be able to drag berry bushes. Oh my god. So I'm going to bring back up my idea of a unique Pro Scouts for a cannibalism civ. So you need a civ that has a history of cannibalism. And their version of Pro Scouts is they'd run over like this, Pro Scouts would complete, and then they'd just pull out like a rope and they lasso a villager and drag them off, and they'll be like verbal screaming. So like, you know, this poor person gets like grabbed, dragged, and you see him go ah, 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 into the fog. I would pay $45 for that. I'm not even kidding. That's the gameplay we secretly all need. Love this. M7, he's actually going for a very bold wall, but you know, with Pro Scouts on the way, it does stop the play. You do need to wall here as well. If you don't complete both of these walls, you're going to look like a clown down the line. And M7, he does have this Limitane coming. Everyone just start with infinite food and then it's the other resources that matter. I don't think you even want me to begin dissecting the problems of that. So, like, fundamentally, the reason why everyone wants Pro Scouts nerfed is it spits on the logic of good game design, right? Like, good game design is something that is more risky should be more rewarding, right? And Pro Scouts has no risk to it, really. and all the rewards. Right? It's such a low barrier to return value that it's absurd. So, like, really what we need here is we need things that are adequately rewarded that apply appropriate risk. For example, boar. Boar is the best base gathering rate in the game. But to do it, you have to come out into the mid-map. There's no negotiating that. It has to be out in the mid-map. So you have to do something hard to secure it. But like deer was meant to be that as well. But the fact that you're able to pull it back to base just simplified the safety of it. How would I fix that? So there's a few ways. You can nerf the movement speed of deer, of deer like carrying scouts. That's one way. You can also nerf the cost of pro scouts. I would also personally like to see survival techniques being tier 1 and then pro scouts being tier 2. And what I mean by that is you'd have to research survival techniques to get pro scouts. Those on their own would be good enough. If you want to take it into a different direction, there is another way. And that would be to increase the amount of deer and decrease the amount of food on them. So instead of being 350, you can make this 200, 150, something like that, right? You still give it the better gathering rate, but the logic there is it's like harder to just maintain the constant pacing. And also the importance of that is like if you have 4 scouts pulling back deer right now, that's 1,400 food. If it was 200 food each, then 4 scouts give you 800 food. So the whole idea is like right now, if I have 4 scouts and I only get 1.5 drop-offs, worth, 100% worth. Excuse me. I've gained resources, right? But with that new system where there's a lot less food per deer, I have to keep going out. I keep gathering or it's just not worth it at all. And yeah, I don't like Decay, by the way. I think Decay is just a misfit for AoE4. It doesn't need to be there. The moment you introduce Decay, you actually buff Berry Sieves even further. So Barbican drop coming from Nimodon. We had a little bit of skirmishing back and forth, but nothing too drastic. I think M7 has been a bit too defensive here. He tried to poke, but ran into archers and just felt bad about it straight away. But this Barbican drop is like a big deal, right? The bigger deal is actually the fact that we have a spawn where there isn't a relic in the center, so that has mitigated some of the value of the Barbican. But it's still going to stop M7 having a clean win condition, which is important because one thing that's more and more convincing me that Byzantines are really, really tilt factor of 10 good here are the Mangonel towers. If you already have something to block them shuffling up for those outposts, it makes the easy peasy win condition around like 20 minutes not so simple. Barbican should have been closer to the gold. It depends what he wants to do, right? Like, if he's going for a win condition on Sacred Site, he'll want to keep drop. But now, he's going to be shuffling out that gold you talked about there. Yeah, because he needs castle, right? Like, you could actually start gathering stone there, but I just don't think he has any gold gatherers. Okay, no, he does. That's a lot of gold gatherers. 14 people on gold is a bit overkill. M7 should be mirroring the tech. Just much slower. I also don't even have systems out here. A little bit surprised. He doesn't quite have enough stone. It'd be worth just building it on its own, even if it's not connected, for the nice little healthy buff. I mean, yeah, it would be great if everyone in your kingdom could have the 18% buff, but you'll take the 10. Alright, how did you guys gamba in the end? 89% for Numadon. That is a shocking outcome. I would have expected this one to be close to 50%. Remember, game 1 where I'd say H-Shira meant to be quite favored, that was 50-50. But this one where like Byzantines should usually be better off, no one wants to believe. So, Ashton Walker Lockdown now coming in. Yeah, so a little bit surprised Numadon didn't build this on the high ground. Problem is he only has, what, 4 villages out there, but you could have had the meet in the middle type situation. Because if you are targeting the Sacred Site win condition, having that kind of fort is good. You could argue just having it in a retracted position means that if you start to lose control of the top, it doesn't mean the game's over, whereas if you can't build siege, you're definitely screwed here. But yeah, now has access to the Nest of Bees. Needs to be a little bit careful here. Because M7 can potentially snipe those out with longbows. So instead, expect Numidan to focus on the armored units. Passguard already getting queued up. Why is M7 so slow? I was wondering why M7's tech up is so slow, and that explains it. He also still doesn't have assistant out here, right? One thing I would have loved for M7 to do is just shove the deer all the way back. Because he could, if he got fast castle timing right, we could have been looking at Katas. It's too late for that now. This is going to have to be probably Varangian spam, which isn't bad actually. Varangian will destroy the Palace Guard if you have the same numbers. No gulping? There's no... I don't think there's any point gulping here. Your tech timing's way too slow, so you're anticipating your opponent should be walled in, right? Like, if this was a proper, efficient, fast castle, then Gulpy Boys is good. But not here. Golden Horn Tower now on the way, but... I am feeling slightly uninspired by this from M7. It feels like we're just looking at a series where he gets out-teched every time, right? In game one, he just kind of got outplayed in the fight and then out-teched. And now we're seeing him get outplayed into an out-tech. So how does M7 win this? Like I said, Varangian in equal numbers can be good. Theoretically, adding these farms early should have some longevity, but the bigger issue is going to be the deer. The deer that are now being targeted by Numu. If you don't have this food source and your opponent does, he's going to out-blob you. We're only seeing, what, 6 groves. Berries are very limited. If you give over almost 5,000 food to your opponent here, and have to add in even more farms, I think you're just going to end up in a situation where you're maybe at 45 military when your opponent's approaching 90. And we actually have cataphracts being added in. So I guess for M7, this is about answering the Nesta Beast, right? He's expecting China to just go for Sacred Site control and then force you into a bad fight because they have knobs. That's where cataphracts can be useful in small quantity. Don't expect this to be like Gulper's Wet Fantasy 15 cataphracts whoop whoop. It's more like have 4 or 5, and they are now the Byzantine Springles, right? Because with the trample, remember, you can bypass infantry. So you can just run over them and jump straight on top of the siege. Cataphract coming. There is a rewall at least. How many deer got snatched away there, actually? That wasn't as many as I was expecting. So you lost 3 deer. Nothing too crazy come out from Nemu. But what you see with this play is kind of delaying M7 approaching the high ground. So this should be buying time, not just for relics, but also a potential keep drop. M7 should be going for the relics himself as well. Remember, he's got one safe at home. It's the mid-map ones you want to orientate yourself around. Looks like we're going to get a 3-2 split. So Nimu slightly favored there, but M7 can put this to good use in the Grand Winery to get the olive oil for more of these mercs. It's a very calm and slow game, isn't it? The question is, if you play this slow, who does it actually favor more? My instincts tell me it's better for China. Right? Like, I think you are definitely going to be feeling a lot more cozy the later this goes. One thing that could be an interesting variable is the fact that M7 has been adding in farms while Numidan hasn't, right? But you have to remember, we've got Song Dynasty activated now. Even if the Sacred Site wasn't there, over time, Numu is building a bigger and bigger lead. And this is getting hard to breach. We have sprint replacements coming in as well. M7 is stepping up, but he may have needed to do this a lot sooner. And immediately sees it and regrets it. I don't even know why he continues to dive here. Like, there's no play there. So now you have to go for siege. And the other problem is, when you get really slow about this, Numu could now just follow up with a keep drop. Right? He'll get Sprills first. in double outposts, but the keep drop afterwards will just make this unbreachable. M7's army comp just doesn't really make much sense, right? Like, you're playing into sacred site control, and you've built an army that is 75% ranged. The problem with that is, like, the ranged units can't do anything to buildings. Now, if you're wondering, why did Numu do this? Oh my god, does he not want to win? There's multiple reasons. For a start, he needs to deal with the Palace Guard efficiently. He's not big on economy in a way that he can just blob. But the other bigger problem is he needs the Lombos to kill the Nesta Bees. It's not going to be a quick and easy kill. It's not going to be anywhere near remotely clean. But it's basically the only thing that can do this to assist the Cataphracts. Like, Catas can go for the finishing touch, but the Lombos are going to have to get that flurry that gets them low. Other worry I have is M7 revealed the Cataphracts. So Numu is now prepping the counter. Like, the worry I have for M7 in this game is more in the fact that his comp has to take a poke approach. You can't just send it on 6 Nesta Bees, you'll die, right? So you have to move in poke, move in poke, move in poke. You're not a commitment lineup. And that's worrisome because poke works when you haven't got this ticking time bomb looming over you, this death threat of just losing the game instantly. He has, and that timer is already past the 50% mark. I'm wondering how much M7 is practiced King of the Hill. Now that I'm seeing more King of the Hill, I'm starting to wonder if I actually like it. I think it's provided better experiences than it has in the past, but you still get games like this where it's like, I don't know what to do with this. When is my timing, right? Like, you know, it's a really tricky map for that reason. I almost want to see a version of this map that has like a sacred site on the north and one on the south. Seven. Stepping up and discovering that Nesta Bees, while nerfed, are still freaking ridiculous. Wait, is he just A-clicking? No! The Cataphracts, yes, but the rest of the army, most definitely not. Just A-clicks through. And this is not the anti-siege he was looking for. The Nesta Bees slurry comes in. M7 is dead. Oh my god. Yeah, the building is complicated, and I think also M7 had all of his military melee on one key binding by the looks of it. So when he trampled in, his Lancenet, everything was running by as well. Knobs just still proven to be an absolute king of this hill. Oof. And that is why China has a good time when you play it slow. Yeah, a little bit of a rough one. So, 2-0 there. We have got more series though, folks. So, just having a look at the schedule. So, KJ versus Gully is going to play tomorrow. But we have got Starflark versus Striker. Great to see Striker starting to sign up. We have also got Elyona versus Jean Do. Elio versus Jean Do is about to start. I think that one will be a fun one, actually. So, let me have a look and see if the draft is available between those two. I don't think the draft has gone up yet, but it should be going up in a minute. Depends. Do you guys want Elyona versus Jean Do, or do you want Striker versus Starflark? Here you go. Here's the bracket. Choices. Of course, Averly wants to see some Striker. So let me have a look. Where is the draft? Lakeside Dry Arabia. Of course, Starflark has once again drafted Abbasids. Wow, I've never seen him do this before. Dude loves that Civ. So let me reset the draft series. So remember, we're going to be opening on Rocky River. And then I said we got Lakeside and Dry Arabia, right? And then... Right, there we go. Update that. So that should be good to go. So let me get game one. Look at the drafts, actually. What is he going to pick? This is probably a Delhi pick up against ABBA. No, dude. Starflock, if he's worried about Delhi at all, nah, maybe not. Like, Striker, is French more likely than Delhi on Rocky River? Probably. Because the sacred sites are a little bit more tilted than Dry Arabia usually is. Let's have a look. Let me just find the man, the myth, the legend himself, Starflock. And yes, Elyono should be favored over Jondo. So, we have got Chinese versus Malians game one. Well, damn. It's pretty good for China, right? And yes, agreed. Striker versus Starflock should be fairly close. Striker, definitely a lot more experience long term, but Starflock, no pushover. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel for what I think will be one of our closest series of the round of 32. We've got the return of Striker, the man, the myth, the legend, the Age of Empires, long-spanning player, actually. No, a new kid on the block. He's going to be going up against a more recent one. We've got Starflock from Chile on the other side of this. Malians versus Chinese. Really good opening draft for Starflock, actually, right? Like China, this is the Pro Scouts meta. It's a map where you can do Pro Scouts with Rocky River. And China is just the most aggressively fast of almost any sim in the game. Look at that. M7. He might be beat, but he ain't broke, at least when it comes to his wallet. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate the Prime sub. Welcome back to the Swarm. Yeah, so the other interesting thing is that down the line, like, I'm looking at the drafts, I think both of them got a good nibble at it. There's not just an out draft, which is music to my ear. For those who don't know, we're now in the 9th week, by the way. And this time around, we actually have a lot of gaps on the sign-up. So just a recommendation to people in the future, you know, shoot your shot, because you could have been playing this week against some of your favorite players. Look at this one as well. This is a bit rough for Striker, right? If China plays aggressive, double pit mine on the forward doesn't feel great. In fairness, I think China's probably just going to go fast castle here. My worry is like how Striker keeps pace with that. I think that's where Malians can just get the air sucked out of him here, is you both go Pro Scouts. Let's say you get a 50-50 split. China is just going to be a lot quicker into the third age than Malians ever can be. You still don't want French Hero Wars ads? Oh, wait, you're still getting French ads? Okay, I'm curious. Other people let me know. Have you weirdly, for some reason, been getting foreign language ads? Yeah, whether you're English or whatever else. Just of languages you don't speak. I haven't had this. You sub. That's a smart idea. What a great idea, Pope dear. Subbing does make sense. What? I'm surprised we didn't think of this sooner. So wait, just to clarify. If you subscribe to my Twitch channel, you don't get ads. Am I hearing that correct, chat? I mean, that sounds like a life hack to me. And you'd think Starflock is hacking this. What the hell? Wait, no. Oh, wow. Actually, he didn't get that much. I'm a little bit shocked by that. Yeah, China is usually favored on scouting, remember, because they have the better visions. They can see where they're going. But it's that classic example of you both head for the center of the map and then circle around. It means we've actually got a 50-50 split exactly on sheep. You're Polish and you get French ads all the time. Wait, what? Why is everyone getting French ads at the moment? There's some sort of advertising agency in France has been looking at the AoE4 scene and going, damn, Genomates are here? All right, we getting here too. So, Pro Scouts is coming in. Striker, I'm wondering, is he going to mirror? Yeah, he is. I mean, it just makes sense, right? The problem I have with the mirror is, like, it's always later. I like that Striker is taking the correct approach. I've seen some people drop the mill first. It just doesn't make sense, because you're still going to be waiting a very long time. It's much better to get your Warrior Scouts out now to block the Chinese ones first. And what Starflock should really be doing to address this is opening with racks as well. So, like, pump up to 4 scouts and then go for a racks play. And then the spinman can protect you when you come out in the center. It's going to be a little bit annoying because with good micro, Striker can just pull away and heal up the injured scouts. but it buys you the necessary time to get the goodies home. Wait, yours are in Spanish? Okay, I don't know what the hell's going on with people's ads. I'm just like in whoop mode right now. Whoop. By the way, winner of this one is going to be going up against Wham. So for those who don't know, Wham has returned. He took a week away. He's back already. I'm surprised as well. I thought actually Wham was going to skip. I expected him to be one of the players that like, oh, no, you know, don't want to reveal the strategies to the upcoming tournament. Good on him, though. Good on the people that actually did sign up, even though they've got like the EGC tournament coming up. I don't think you should worry as much about revealing secret strategies to extreme, if that makes sense. Like, I'm always reminded of... I know Dota 2 is a very different game, but like the classic one I always recall is how in the build-up to TI4, I believe it was, everyone talked about how they had a secret strategy, and they were hiding their secret strategy. They didn't want to use those secret strategies, didn't want to reveal their secret strategy, didn't want to tell anyone about the secret strategy. You got to TI4, which is like Red Bull Wallalow within the Dota 2 scene, and everyone's secret strategy was the same goddamn thing. It was a combo called Faceless Voice Skyrock Mage. Every single team. It was the same strategy, right? So, in a way, by like not playing in extra tournaments and not just playing these strategies to perfection, instead of getting this big huzzah, no one saw this coming moment, you just had everyone being very inefficient at the strategy and punting. You know, there's a lot of different areas in life that can have this mantra importance around it. Like, I'm always reminded of, for example, when I was a game developer, right? When I was a developer and when I was trained to be a game developer, you know, one thing we'd always talked about is don't keep ideas to yourself, right? Because, like, some people will. They'll be like, oh, no, if you hear my idea, you're going to steal my idea. You can't steal my idea. It's my idea. The problem is, while protecting your idea seems like a good idea, you don't even know if it's a good idea until someone else knows about it. You get what I mean, right? Like, if you hog something and don't share it at all, you can't necessarily make it the best version it can be. Or you can end up spending a long time obsessing over it just to discover it's trash. So, Striker, we actually do have archers getting added in. Starflight on the spin when we were expecting. This is where things can get really good for China, because now they can just go into archers, and then with all the gold gen coming from the Imperial Academy, you eventually get Barbican drop. That's the problem that the Malians have in this matchup. That's what makes them fall behind. You have Sofas coming through. A little bit surprised by that choice. Never seen Grandma's Boy? What the hell's Grandma's Boy? Is this going to be like the equivalent of when an American goes to European? You haven't seen Field of Dreams? A stoner classic. Ah, there's my issue. I didn't start smoking until I was in my mid-20s. Very rarely do anyway. It's an American thing? There you go. This is like when I'm on a broadcast and on a panel with a deeply American sporty analyst, and he starts making references to American football, and I just nod. So far, this is a terrible start. Running into spears is the worst thing you can do. Remember, Sofa don't really become a real threat until Castle Age, unless they are specifically countering a unit. Spearman most definitely is not something to be countering here. So, good start for Starflark, and a shaky ground to begin this one for Striker. I feel like Starflark is getting so much deer off the map as well, compared to Striker. It feels like he's everywhere, right? Starflark now even taking control of the south side deer, blocking it with the spears. I mean, the one upside for Striker is his Warrior Scouts can kite. That's getting Sofa. The more he leans archers, the more it slows him down. Wow. Starflark. I think in the archers at the point where the Donzos come through, I mean, this is just starting to look better and better for him. Doesn't even go for the song. I think Starflark is just going to bypass into castle. They don't make comedies like they used to. Exactly. Like, you know, I'm going to Britify and return to all the, like, American judgment of not watching an American movie. What one am I? Oh, damn. I got to choose now. Because my brain immediately was like, which one do I go for? The obvious one is Blackadder. But I feel like a lot of Americans would have seen that. The better one that I really love, I'm trying to remember his name, Rick. Oh, he's passed away now. He's in Drop Dead Fred. So a comedy that I really enjoyed as a kid, which I shouldn't have been watching as a kid because it's definitely not made for kids. It's called Bottom. It's got Rick Mail in it. It's about two lads who live together and they are just ridiculously violent at each other the entire time. Love Bomb. And no, Gervais is not a British thing. Gervais is very much an American thing. Hate to break it to you, but Gervais' popularity really comes from America. Yeah, clashes have been going on. Like, we haven't seen a drastic power switch yet, which is why we haven't been focusing on it too much. It's just the same thing. Like, Striker has built Sofas way too early. He's also defending his base, which makes Sofas even less logical. If he's at least intercepting reinforcements to be good, but just standing here like this is a quicker way of losing. Stuff like now even adding the Zhug after going for the Barbican, while also getting rid of Castle. I mean, is there anything this guy isn't doing right now? You hate when actors you've seen in movies do interviews and you realize they're British? Oh no. Why do you hate that? Oh, because you have to admit that British actors are really, really good and they're doing a better job than like the American counterpart. Yeah, I see. That reminds me of when House MD had auditions and the director said, I do not want a British actor because they can't do American accents. Hugh Laurie sent his audition. The director saw it and went, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly why we don't get British actors. We need real American actors like this guy. That is what a real American accent is like. And then after everything was signed and he hired him, he turns up on set and like in the most British voice possible. If you ever heard Hugh Laurie, you know the one I'm talking about. Like, very nice to meet you. Very, very good to be working with you. And the director was just, had no words. So, tech out complete. Starflight should now just be pumping lances. I don't know, dog. Strike is looking struck out here. He only has 2 ranches. Yeah, this is why most people avoid massing Sofas in Feudal. British culture is Banshees of Inisherin. What does that even mean? You saw Benedict come and do a speech class for mums to get more American English? I think Benedict probably would have benefited more from focusing on how to say the word penguin. A little bit of dive coming in. Starflight doesn't really need to be here, but it just keeps Striker honest to defending. Get the veterancy for Zhuganu coming in. Dude, is he really? Wait, this feels like borderline BM that he's just going to run him through mass Zhug instead of armored units. Like, your opponent has built mass Sofas, and you're like, oh man, he could upgrade these at any point. No, Starflight isn't convinced. He's like, you have spent too much on Cav. There is no way you'll ever be able to afford Castle Age. Damn. Talk about running him through. Starflight, at this point, is the proverbial dog with the bone. Speed up a little bit so we get close to live. I just don't see how Striker... There. Perfect timing. All right, game 1 done. But folks, like I said, Striker is no pushover. I'm expecting a strike back in game number 2. We'll just have to see if he's got it in him. All right. So game 1 for Mr. Starflock. Game 2 is going to be Lakeside. Starflock has... what, Japanese? Striker has French, though, man. French have looked really good on Lakeside so far. And they might again. Looks like we got French-Japanese. All right, loading up now. All right, let's hop in. We had to listen to you Americans butchering our language for centuries. Wait, what? In a world where Cockney exists, I can't even take this seriously. I mean, in fairness, can we all look... Okay, there's a lot of aggro between America and Britland in my chat for some reason, but can we, in fairness, at least guarantee on this? there is no such thing as American. It is English. Just want to clarify. Like, am I the only one who like has a little flicker in the eye when someone goes, "I speak American"? I'm like, no, you speak the American version of English. It is English. But there are people that are like, it's American. No. It's English. But in this game, it's French. That's right. We've got the return of French. They've been looking pretty good on Lakeside. Good opportunity for Striker to try to strike back here. But Starflark has gone for the stronger stable. Japanese. Always a reliable pick when there's a little bit of pom play involved. And that pom play is going to be one wet... What? You've never heard that I must be surrounded by simpletons? That's true. I hate it when I look in my chat and I got these simpletons that don't even know how to subscribe. Anyway, this is a bit weird from Strike. Wait. Oh my god, dude. Striker, please tell me you played the map. He hasn't played the map. I can't. No. Oh, well, I gave crap to Call the other week. I'm going to give it to you now, Striker. This is why you load a map before you play it. Just load it once. It was literally his pick. I'm not even exaggerating. In the draft, Striker picked this Civ. Picked this map, rather. Oh, my God. Do you remember they have got, like, one ban each? And then that leaves four maps to pick. He had Bridges, Howland Spring, or Lakeside. He picked Lakeside. And guys, what makes it even worse is right next to the deep water fish. Oh no, I'm going to hit the 2x speed. I can't, man. Alright, this may be the most entertaining moment of the day. The comedial value is definitely not lost on me here. Unbelievable. So Striker is on shoreline fish. Meanwhile, for those that haven't seen Lakeside before, there is deep water fish over here. Always guaranteed, man. Just come out this way. Just enjoy the goodies of life. Coca Township down the way. Striker is at least mirroring the School of Cavalry timing. This should just be a castle rush from Starflark. And now, because Striker doesn't have deep water fish, he's going to struggle to compete with that. Takes 15 seconds for that ship to make it back to the door. Hey, but it's an extra gathering unit. So, you know, more food than if he didn't have it. He needs pro fishing boats to reel the fish in. Yeah, when are we getting, like, fish in what they call trawls? Is it trawl? Like, just drag the sand off the bed of the ocean as it fishes along. That's what we're missing. Oh, man. This is so rough. I don't know how he's meant to stop this now. I love this from Starflark, by the way. Tawara into Berry Gathering. Berry Gathering base rate got buffed, so Tawara is even better now. Means you've got a better gathering rate on this than you have on sheep. And it's also the dangerous resource, so you take it now before the knights arrive. First knight is now going to be on the way. First knight is now going to be on the way. First knight is now going to... Second knight is going to be on the way. Wow, he's fast. 2x does that to you. So Japan is just going to get almost the freest castle imaginable. We already have an outpost up. No arrow slits. Might be forced to build into Starflark. Now, hold on. Wait. That felt unnecessary. That was so greedy. Starflark now finally going arrow slits. He wanted the tech up so badly. And now he's being forced to reinvest. So 50 gold there. You'll be seeing the 25 gold there. Loses the villager as well. Okay. Golf clappers for Striker. Because, guys, here's the thing. Was this the worst fishing opening we've seen on Lakeside ever? Yes. Yep. Now, we love Striker, but in fairness, yes. This was absolutely the worst fishing opening I've ever seen on this map. But the nice thing about French and why they are so wonderfully noob-friendly, and obviously Striker's no noob, is because you just get better economy the longer the game goes, right? So even though they both went the same amount of fishing, Striker's already ahead. 3 villagers up. And that Shinobi, I mean, he does get the trade in on the Knight. Not bad there. But this can be overtime force. This can be idle. And the third Knight will force the idle time. I'm sure he's coming now. I think he's distracted. I'm going to see him shuffling in now. Villagers will be quick to move away at least. He could be rotating onto the berries, which is a bigger deal. You want to block Starflux food because he's already got the wood he needs. He only needs a stable, which is 150 wood. These mind games for Striker, how can you count if they don't know what you're doing? That's my excuse when I play. It's not that I'm behind the meta, it's that I'm 5 years ahead of it. So Striker does have an archer ship coming out. I don't think this was intentional by Striker, but I'm going to say it. He's adjusting really well in that this archer ship is going to be completely unexpected for Starflux. It actually catches him when he's adding in even more fishing boats. So he won't have room for everyone. Striker definitely has to get closer though. The tagging from this distance is much harder to kill fishing boats. Floating Gate is coming in. Alright, ones if you think Striker's going to win this, twos if you think Starflux's going to win it. Why am I even asking? Ones if you believe in Striker. I mean, come on, guys. Look, that's a second worker kill for Striker. Although, wait. What happened? Why is Striker now equal on villagers? Huh? I mean, he just got another worker on land, but guys, I'm pretty sure Striker's skipping worker production. He's trying to officially pump out knights, but he's been skipping. Because remember, you're 9 minutes in the game. Every minute, you get an extra half a villager. Because remember, you save 3 seconds, 20 seconds to boost, right? So roughly like every 2 minutes, definitely every 2.3 minutes, you'll have an extra villager. So he should have 3 extra villagers, right? 3 to 4 extra villagers. He doesn't. Well, Starflux. Looks like he's idled out on the food side of water at least, but I mean, 33 to 36. Here's at least the lead again for Striker. He did actually find a little bit of damage there, but what was wrong? Wait, like when I checked that a second ago, it was 33 to 33. The fishing out was the same. Was that a UI bug? I'm so confused today. No, we kept checking fishing boats. They had the same amount when we like selected all. So I'm a little bit confused as to why there was an equal economy count for even a second. This is more real of what should be happening. It's 35 to 37 though. It feels like Striker isn't getting enough damage done here. That is getting the fishing gone. So no food income there. Starflux does have 18 sheep though. And Striker has none. Top of that, Mount Samurai coming. This is the problem for Starflux, for Striker rather. Striker needs to be in Castle H. If he can get Arbitrary, he can win this. But if this is Knights against Mount Samurai, it is one of the most one-sided, similar unit matchups you will see in the game. I'm not even exaggerating, guys. Like, not only is it the health difference, it's deflective armor. Like, your charge does no damage, which means you also don't get your damage buff of an extra 3 for 5 seconds. And obviously the stats are already better overall for the Mountain Samurai. Even when you're in Castle Age, man, like, unless you've got Royal Bloodlines, Mountain Samurai win. Should Strike go Spears? He needs to go something, man. Like, just going Knights isn't working, but he's going Pro Scouts, which leads to even bigger questions in this game. You don't have map dominance now. I think we've got it too early. Even Bannerman also getting added in. I just don't really see a way. Striker, this opening, this mistake was such a critical blunder. Like, this is a reminder to people that if you're going to play in tournaments, you know, just spawn the map once or twice. It doesn't take too long. I know it feels tedious, but this is what awaits you when you fail to do so. Willow coming out, Striker. What? Okay, I can't believe he got away with that. That was absurdly greedy. Striker just not really switched on his Starflux today. He's like, wait, what is your attention reaction speed? Let's have a look. Looks like Striker has switched onto it now, so won't be giving it over again. Wait. He's actually just healing them in the middle of the map. This is kind of cocky. Uma Bannerman just came in, and that is going to be the bruiser. That's a 15% damage buffer. I actually kind of love that Starflark just does this. I mean, it feels really inefficient, but he feels that he's so far ahead he can afford to. That great micro as well. Does lose one of them out of Samurai, but the injuries are real here. Striker, neck and neck on raw military count. Quality really undeniable. Uma Bannermans are really cool to tank with as well, guys, because they do have a lot more health than the Mat Samurai, 40 more, right? So you can basically take 2 extra hits in the face from these knights. I mean, he has Wololo again, right? That should be reloaded. Ah, still got some time. Starflark. Whoa. Wait a second. There's no way. There's definitely no way. GG gets scored. Miserable 2-0 for Striker in this one. Starflark continues on through, and he will be looking forward to his date with Wham in the round of 16. Yeah, that was... French surrendered, big surprise. Ayo. You know, I resisted the temptation to make the comment, you know? I didn't want to do it to him, but you had to, didn't you? So, is it Cal versus Lash time? Do you guys want Cal versus Lash? Moo Moo Boy versus Lash? The matchup that you've all desperately wanted. Let me see if I can get it. So, hopefully I'll have the draft in a second, because they definitely forgot to post it. Love that. Hey, Jim. Aha, there we go. How did Mirag go? He won his series. Done really well, really clean. So, thank you, Cal. Good lad. So, Portland. Whoa, Bridges is coming out. Pog. So we got default map, my brain for a second here. Yeah, Rocky River. I want to say Rocky Canyon for a second there. So we're going to have Rocky Canyon, and then we've also got Bridges Borderland. Okay. No King of the Hill, Gal? No return to the fabled battlegrounds where you slapped Lash around. I am surprised. Let's have a look and see what the choice is going to be for Rocky River. Probably HRE opener makes a lot of sense. Lash is either going to be going Marlians or Zhuji. Knowing that there's HRE, you should be going Zhuji every day. Oh, he actually goes HRE. Sorry, it goes Delhi rather. Oh, actually, yeah, I thought he might save that for Borderland, but he's got English there. Does that make sense? Tricky for Cow, because HRE just kind of baits you in, but now you probably wish you went Ayu or Chinese. Then again, as we know all too well, I mean, Cow has to save his Chinese for game number 3, guys. It's happening again. This is an incredible series in Midweek Muster number 8, and it's back for return running. Lash versus Cow. Lash, who should be favored, but last time these two met, Cow slapped him across the cheek so far that I'm pretty sure a few teeth came loose. Not sure if that's going to happen again, though, folks. We open Delhi versus HRE here in Midweek Muster number 9. Opening map, of course, going to be Rocky River. And the winner of this one is going to be going against Kiljadi, who was the grand finalist in last week's series. Yeah, so Rocky River. Man, I don't know. This map is just depressing now. When was the last time you saw someone fish on this map? I'm not saying I want fish to be really, really good. I want it to feel viable, though. It never feels viable on this map. Ever since they nerfed the amount of shoreline fish in the ponds, no one touches it. It's almost like this resource doesn't even need to be here anymore. Yeah, HRE. Not going to be going for the Spearman opening. You don't really want to do that against the Deli. The reason is that just Deli don't care, right? If you try to Spearman rush Deli, they can actually just shivs out you on the first few, if you even get enough pressure there. How do the line between viable and necessary? I mean, it's the fundamental flaws of like the fishing system in general, right? But we'll hit the fast forward just for a little bit of the early game, so we can get them into their feudal age. 13-13 exactly, so no one getting an advantage on sheep. I mean, cow could have, but busy. What do you guys think? Do you favor HRE here or do you favor Deli? On this type of map, I feel like it leans Deli. HRE don't really have any crafty tricks they can just get away with. Should we just arcing into Dome of Faith on the other side? And remember, although Cal did win game number 1 of last week's series, I've got to say, like, it felt as if it was, I don't want to say an outdraft, but definitely an outplay on the opening. So that's what we're going to keep an eye out for, because last time what happened is Cal sent it in feudal after opening Dark Age Spearman pressure, which ruined the Ibids and put him too far ahead. This game, Deli are usually very capable of just mirroring the feudal pressure at the beginning of the age. We've just got to stay for Lash and Cal. I mean, despite the fact we didn't get a full 32 sign-up this week, I'm kind of just looking at the roster of people that are going to match up at this rate. And I'm pretty buzzing for a lot of these. Like, most likely we'll be looking at Elyon versus me and Micah. That could be kind of wild. Then we've got, what? We know Nimu beat M7, so Numenor versus Cat I think is going to be a crazy one to see as well. Return of Wham, B looking to defend his title. Him and Kiljadi wouldn't meet until all the way to the semi-finals. I mean, this is going to be a thriller. So, Dome of Faith, now coming in a sec. Usually the way you want to open this is you just want to try to just go Ghazi, keep rotational pressure. And the reaction for HRE, the build you're looking for, is actually Rax opening, archer range, archer range. Oh, or we can make this about pro scouts. I'm not sure I like that. I get why Cal's doing it, because if he doesn't do it, his opponent's going to force pro scouts anyway. But HRE isn't really a civ that I see merit with rushing pro scouts. I think they're a civ that benefit from doing it after delay. So usually you want to be opening up with a few horsemen or a few spearmen / archers. You don't want to just outright be rushing naked into pro scouts. But considering you know your opponent's going to be opening Ghazi, I can't understand why you'd want to open horse. Because remember, like, a Deli opponent is never going to open with 5 scouts. Because the Ghazi are just too valuable. Definitely a curious decision here out of Cal. I'll have to see if it ends up proving rewarding. Does have the berries plus the sheep in range, so a decent amount of food to work with there. Tree line as well. Ah, no, he wasn't quite in range. I thought he buffed the second tree line. You could just stagger a lumber camp here to get that buff. It's kind of worth it. It's funny how HRE have kind of evolved a little bit, right? Because, like, HRE a few patches ago would have probably just put an arc in here, played mass archers. Trying to get out ahead and turtle into castle? What, is HRE? I mean, you can try to open pressure, like, your spears are pretty good, right? Like, I think Deli can actually struggle against HRE if you get the opening comp right. It's not easy. I think Deli, the problem you have is the way they can snake castle on you. So usually that lights the fire under HRE's asked to try and go with that fast castle play, right? Because if you don't, and Lash beats you to it, he's probably beating you to it because he's got 5 scholars on standby on 5 relics on the map. I think HRE fast castle Burgrave is a cool concept. The problem is, like, you would need to double scout open and justify it. And even then, it's like on a map like Rocky River, I just don't think that strategy works. Because double scout feels like it has a lot less value on Rocky River compared to, like, Dry Arabia. So Archer Ranger's coming in. I think Cal got forced to reveal his comp a little bit too soon. And this is why, like, opening spears could have been a bit better. You know it's going to be Ghazi. So then you can force your opponent to react archers, and then you go horsemen, right? But I think this way, Lash got the desired outcome. He was able to blob Ghazi to a good count, which means he'll now be able to contest the first fight for Sanctity around the 6th site. Oh. Well, I'm happy to say that my throat isn't completely dead, which I think is impressive. So, big golf clappers for that. I was a bit worried about it. You know what actually might be the way for H3 to win this matchup in Feudal? I'm going to say the dangerous word that some people don't like to hear. And if you don't like to hear it, you know what's going to be, so cover your ears anyway. Mind work. I actually think mind work has some bread and butter. I mean, because you get all pikes, right? And that manages to mirror the Ghazi on damage, at least. It doesn't mirror them health, sure, but like you still have a good economy. Then you get your blacksmith timings just so aggressively that you're able to like justify horseman archers and overwhelm your opponent. This looks a bit rough for Cal. Lasher is getting away with defending with Ghazi, which is usually a no-no. Like if you're in your base, you should feel really bad that you aren't using cavalry to hit the flanks. Now this posturing comes in. I mean, after that attempt, Cal right now definitely does have the bigger army. The Ghazi are annoying because they double as a beater of the horsemen, but also a beater of the men-at-arms. Archers do need to deal with those spears, though. I mean, Cal does have an opportunity to chase here. Needs to do so as well. Okay, I'm starting to be convinced a bit. I think Cal, I was a little bit worried at first he was adding in the men-at-arms too soon. I do think that he probably would benefit from the horsemen hitting the flanks a bit more, but Lash, like what you're seeing is Cal's target is just to block sacred sites. His thought process is that I have Archon, you have nothing. If you don't get sacred sites, your economy's weak. Which I can respect. Needs to be careful not to overdive here. We've reached the choke points, and this is where archers are worth their weight in wood. Spinner not getting targeted down. Good micro there from Lash. There's only men-at-arms left. He's going to be forced to back away here. 2 spears coming in. It's a third. But I don't like what's happening here. Cal, this started off really well, and then he started to trickle troops into the engagement. Yeah, a bit of a drop of the ball there, right? Like Cal, this fight in the mid-map looks really good. The moment you approach the enemy's base, you give way too much value to the defender's advantage as well as the archer mass. He needs to slow down, just calm down. I think Cal is maybe just thinking back to game number 1 of last week and getting a bit too excited. That game, relentless pressure was the way. In this game, it's all about tempo control and map control. Even more so when you're playing Crow Scouts, because if you now fail to contain map, the knock-on effect is your opponent isn't just going to go for his sacred sites, he'll also block your play into Scouts. Which actually, okay, is Cal not doing it at all? Now I am a little bit surprised. I really thought it was going to be a play into Pro Scouts. He's out of food, though. So now, is this the point where you just kind of regret not doing it, right? Because you've got 18 workers that were on food, down to none. You have 2 farms total. What? He's running out to deer. I am becoming a tad bit worried. You're going to want to build an outpost out here, because here's the thing. You saw that your opponent had built Ghazi. He's still going to keep building Ghazi. The whole value of gradual pro scouts here is that Ghazi can't do anything, because they don't want to dive into the main base. This has just given them a surefire target. And Lash, he's seen the deer being shoved around, right? Like, at some point, it might not be obvious now when there's still 6, but as they get killed, remember, through the fog, you can see them disappearing. So when there's only like 2 deer left standing, Lash is going to either be like, okay, he went pro scouts, or he's out here. And it's definitely worth checking at that point. You have to remember also, Cal, although he at least has vision in the area, he did bring out 14 villages. He only has room for a third of that to be safe. Yeah. Sacred Site is now being forfeited because of that play. So Lash starting to scale the eco, but wait a second. Hold on a second. Is anyone counting? Because you should be, because Lash is skipping villager production. Cow, I think, has as well, because the gap was shrinking for no reason. Looks like we do have one worker kill, right? Actually, yeah, so, like, praise to Cow, by the way. We have given him this criticism multiple weeks now, where his TC production rate hasn't been great. It's still a problem, but apparently Lash is having a much bigger problem here. It's a free villager advantage for Cow. Ironically enough, Lash is the one who's made a worker kill happen. 6 sets locked in. Cow gonna man the defense. He has got mass men at arms here. He's got the melee defense coming. I mean, the problem with mass men at arms is Ghazi just don't care. Defender's advantage will allow him to push this away, but I really think Cow maybe needs some archers or just more horsemen. This build used to work really well against Delhi, by the way, but ever since Ghazi got introduced a long time ago, the build hasn't really found as much impact anymore. Ghazi just trade obnoxiously well into feudal men at arms. Lash does have to walk away, but you can see the drastic difference in military size here. Yeah, I'm getting worried Cow's going to overexhaust himself. Because the other problem is, like, mass men at arms requires mass farms. He has at least started that transition. We're up to 11 now. Remember, also, this isn't true HRE thoroughbred economy. A third of it is not getting that 40% buff. Lash on the sacral sides. Cow just rushing a bit too fast here. Faster than his little legs can carry him. I remember Lash is happy to take these trades in that kind of area, right? Like, it keeps you away from your own production. Means he's still protecting his sacred site win condition. So time it ticks, but not just that. The gold trickles upwards, and I think Lash is going to go castle. He's got no reason not to. Cow now has to reinvest after that rough fight. Wow, okay, no. Lash instead is double downing. Kind of interesting here. I think there was a clean castle route for him, but his thought process now is, I don't need it, I can just end the game here. Right? Like, my opponent blobbed men at arms and lost too many. He must be running out of food. So, either he comes out on the map, or he builds farms. Either way, that allows me to win with a lot of Ghazi. I think the other most likely thing here is that Lash just didn't have enough gold passively. So he felt that instead of blobbing on resources and having like 2k plus food while he waits for gold, it's better to balance the line. Like with 1200 food income, you might as well just keep pumping food-based units now. And then when you get 600 gold from the sacred sides, tech up. I like that. Some people like to trade the gold away. It's just very inefficient compared to just being able to stockpile it for attack. Cow always skips villages. Yeah, but here's the thing. Cow skip villages, but so far, Lash is the only one to get a worker kill, and yet he's 3 behind. So, Cow may skip villages, but he's been doing enough to force mistakes out of Lash in response. However, even with all that effort forcing the mistakes, even for all the skipped production, I think this game is over. Yeah, there's no possible way. Cow stockpiling resources himself. He actually needed to reinvest. This is worrisome. Dives coming in. Villagers now getting targeted. Doesn't want to vacate the farms. Cow reluctant to reinvest. Is finally doing so, but I think it's too late. Now up to 6 worker kills until the Scholar's just able to chain heal here. Don't need to be careful. You don't want to be sacrificed to the Ghazi. The smart thing to do here is actually frontline with the archers, and the Ghazi just come in for the hits. Cow still has this farm on the backside at least working. I'm a little bit confused as to what his out is here. I mean, if he can hold to this degree long enough, you could argue that Lash is going to run out of food. But before he does that, he'll at least be in castle. Yeah, I think Cow's going to call GG the moment the castle comes out. This one's over. I think Cow probably needed the Pro Scouts play. Like, sure, it would have cost him slight military mass at an early phase. I get that he really wanted to block the sacred site. He actually done a great job of doing that. The weird part is if Cow didn't overextend towards Lash's base here in that early fight against archers, He could have just backed up, reset, sat on the sacred site, and gone for Pro Scouts. That would have given him safe food. That would have given him really good food. Would have saved him a lofty amount on farms, right? He's sitting at 20. He spent 1,500 wood on farms. If he had Pro Scouts, he'd still be just having that right now, right? And Pro Scouts' collective cost is, was it 350 resources, the tech, and then we're going to probably want to have our hands on, what, 4 extra scouts, so you spend 208 there. So in total, you spend 630 resources instead of 1,500 to get a better gathering rate as well. Sure, it's temporary, but that's the whole point, is it's the timing that you get from it. On top of that, you would have denied Lash the food from Pro Scouts, which would have meant that he would have had to play Pocket Eco instead. He would have had to have thought about farms. Like, this is the ripple effect, right? Like, we're in a Pro Scouts meta, and what that really means is that both players want the deer. If both players want the deer, you have to look at every deer not as a plus 350, but you need to look at it for what it really is, which is a 700 resource differential. Because I'm getting it and you're not. Regnet's now on the way from Cal. But with 0 map control and 0 relics, I don't even know why he's bothering with this. He doesn't know. He should somewhat suspect, though, right? When you have 0 map control against Delhi, they should get all relics. Burgrave probably wouldn't have been insane value. He already has 4 Raxes, but would have presented better value than this. Guys, I'm getting a bad feeling this might not be Cal's week. How would he win it now? Probably an Imperial play. I can't think of many other ways that Cal could, like, get ahead in this. He has at least got 1 relic he can potentially secure. But, like, when I say he's very, very far behind, I'm being generous. This is pretty rough. Lash is probably going to pull the relics back and contemplate Imperial. We have a War Elephant coming in, and this is where you need a gajillion in crossbows. Now, I know someone wants to say, but KP, he can get heavy maces with his men-at-arms, and then he can kill elephants. Yeah, he could, but that doesn't actually work as well as you'd think. What rank are you on the ladder? I am... unknown. There you go. Technically, I am simultaneously the highest ranked player on the ladder and the lowest ranked player. I think that's how that works. Too busy with the caster, mate. Ain't got time to play. Well, this game has started to feel quite sour. I think the lesson of a cow in this game is just, like, don't overextend, right? I think he actually had a really good flow early on, and then he just played beyond the length of his means. Like, he got too close to the enemy base too early. And that, I mean, that is very unforgivable against Delhi. Once you do that, it just opens what feels like a complete snowball effect. Best record? Well, I don't have one. Like I said, I don't play rank. Haven't touched it. Did not interest me. I've had plenty of games where I've grinded ranked and grinded high ranks, and then I'm like, why have I done this actually? What was the point? I don't want to compete in AoE4, so there wasn't a point. Don't think I'd be #1, but I don't know. I don't know how far I'd get. I just knew that I didn't seek to get. That makes sense. And I also think the idea that, like, a caster needs to be a high rank is one of the most critically wrong things that gets said in esports. It's not true at all. And that's true, I am unbeaten. Oh, cow. I think this is his last stand. There's so many spears. Why did he frontline with the lances? If he went in first with the men at arms, the knights could at least maybe went around the back, but it just doesn't matter. Like, it's an impossible fight to begin with. The numerical advantage is too big. That'll be the GG. So game 1 will be a win for the German against the Germans. And the Norwegians strike back. Oh, no, I guess that's not your point. I just thought, like, it's quite interesting because often it comes up. So, like, I have to explain why I don't play. It's like, I think I said it the other day, is I currently cast in excess of probably, on average, 140 hours of AoE for a month. When I'm done doing that, I want to play some different games, you know? Alright, so, game 1 to Mr. Lash. Cal is going to try to make his backup stand on Baldland. Chinese versus Malians. Well, that is an interesting repeat. They had this last time. It was the deciding game between them. It went very, very deep. Yeah, history's repeating itself, folks. Different map, but we've got it again. It's Malians versus Chinese. This was the Game 3 decider between Cow and Lash in week number 8. Right now, Cow would need a win here after he failed to get it in that Game 3 to even make a Game 3 this week. Cow, Chinese. I mean, Chinese can do quite well against Malians. We talked about this, right? Like, the aggressive timing on Pro Scouts is just very hard to compete with. The follow-up players are really succinct as well. Like, you can just flood a lot of troopers into your opponent's base. You can fast castle much quicker than them. We're definitely going to be seeing Pro Scouts openers, but one thing that's important is, like, this can be a bit of a micro war in the opening. The reason is that Malians typically open with a lot of Warrior Scouts before they go Pro Scouts because they just can't match the timing. So, like, Cal's goal should be with Pro Scouts, get these deer home, and then play for something a little bit longer off, because it's going to get much harder at that point. You'll need the better food gathering to compete with the Warrior Scouts. Boar meat increased? Yeah, it was a very interesting change when they done that, by the way, when they increased the boar from 2,000 to 2,200. I don't think it drastically changed anything, but I like the intent behind it, which is to reward out on the map moves more. I think that is like a big thing that's kind of missing from AoE 4. A lot of the time, it just feels like the defensive player gets rewarded substantially more, right? Like, sitting at home just feels, on average, a lot better. Alright, guys, what do you think? 1s or 2s? 1s for Lash. 2s for Cow. Who's going to win this game? Because, like, based on what we've been seeing recently, I'd say China should be favored. If you're talking about the players, like, there's no denying, especially after that game 1, like, it is looking like a Lash week. Twos. Okay, so we have some Cow believers. I think the thing that worries me a lot is, like, the way that China typically wins this is a little bit later in the game. So, like, that first game, I think H3 has a more cleaner, earlier attack point than China. I also think Cow doesn't mind me saying his H3 is better than his Chinese. That's something we definitely learned from last week. I think he plays H3 a lot better. I think he has a lot more games on it, in fact. It's not that China is, like, he's trash at China. It's just people will have civs they're good at. And this guy right here plays a lot of Malians. I feel like if I had to list the most rep civs for Lash in the midweek musters, Malians might actually be number 1. I'm trying to think if there's a civ I've seen him play more. Like, this is really, it almost feels like a comfort civ at this point for him. Practically always drafted every single series for him. What do you guys think about the Malians and Farimba, by the way? Isn't it funny how when Farimba first came out, there was a feeling that, like, it was absolute trash, the rework, right? But now that we've been sitting on it for a bit, looks insane, right? Do we potentially see it this game? I never say never in the current meta. It's just Fulani feels a lot better here because at the moment, like usually China isn't going 2TC. Oh, but Cal is. Whoa. This is a big problem. If Cal's going 2TC, he's not going Pro Scouts. And if you're not going Pro Scouts, Lash can go for Imba. Yeah, this is the weird thing. Like, you go back before the Pro Scouts meta, Cal is making 100% the correct call. You can play 2TC, and Malians hate it because they can't rush castle quick enough. But the difference in the meta right now that we've been talking about constantly is that 2TC loses to Pro Scouts almost exclusively. It's very rare to see 2TC win out. It's actually why I think ABBA is suddenly just going to be whiffing quite regularly as a pick, right? It's like, it's not that ABBA changed, it's that the meta around it changed. And, you know, like 2TC, 3TC into mass farms, oh, who cares? I've got all these deer. And it's a lot of deer to be giving away. Was it, I think it ends up being, was it 30 in total on this map? Because you have the 7 stacks, it's 24, and then you have 3 stacks times 2. Yeah, so 30 deer. Or to put it another way, almost 7,500 food. Sorry, no, more than that. I'm an idiot. It is 10,500 food. All right, we're going to speed up just for a minute or two here. Lash has got Pro Scouts on the way. Oh, yeah, great. Pro Scouts upgrade also coming in. Sheep count is 16, which is good. Cow actually got more versus the 10 of Lash. So he'll at least have some resource to work with on the hunker down, but, you know, no Barbican yet, so you still have to go back for that. I mean, Lash could just rush castle and build Freeborn. This is actually that very weird, ideal, but rare situation where you can rush castle Freeborn. The reason is that, like, your opponent has no military force. You can have a clean route because you don't have to build units to defend yourself. You just need scouts to gather. And then, obviously, Freeborn, they're a unit that you can't build an age earlier anyway. So just being able to immediately rush into them feels very welcoming compared to the other options, right? Like, Mansim and Safadi require you usually to feel like you've built a few units to make it worthwhile. Javelins require you to have built several of them already for it to feel worthwhile. Just double checking. Do we have any more series for today as well? We might, actually. Just double checking the schedule behind me. I think we have Mia Micah series we could potentially look at. That was the Elio versus Yondo. Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on it because there's potential for some of the round of 16s to get scheduled today. Just because, obviously, the players are going to have a very busy weekend. No problem, though, if some of the round of 16s do happen today and we aren't live. Don't spoil it for yourself. We will cover these on Mondays. Like, remember, we're live Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Spearman coming out from Cal. Oh, what? Is that the highest count of Warrior Scouts we've seen for Pro Scouts play? 10 Warrior Scouts is insane. He's invested 810 food in this play on Scouts alone. The crazy thing is, like, these guys can beat the Spearman. Alright, this has to be for Imba. That's crazy. As well. Oh, it's not going to be too much damage, right? But the Warrior Scouts, Boo-Boos get kissed better. The Spin most definitely don't. In fact, I'm surprised. Yeah, Cal, he wanted to kill the wolf. That was not worth it. Actually cost him more than he gained out of it. The ball's going to head back. So the deer stack has at least been protected, right? Even the one that was being dragged away. But there's archers coming already. And the Warrior Scouts are still going to be able to do damage in these fights, right? They can whittle away at you. Oh, man, I'm still not seeing the way with this. And he's got the Barbican, so we can be seeing Zhuge Nu here. The problem with going Giga Nu is it just means Freeborn will just destroy you. I think Lash is now rushing an age up. I'm trying to actually remember the cost of Freeborn off the top of my head. Because you mean stockpiling a lot of gold to begin with, but one big thing that's kind of worth it now that you've got 11 of these guys, is upgrading the Warrior Scouts. Damn. I think those twos are starting to lose their belief on Cal. He's stockpiling for Castle himself. The problem with this player is going to be, what do you have to work with when you get there? Cal is, I believe, completely out of food. No, he's got 6 sheep left and that's it. Then it's berries. He's already on those berries, in fact. There you go. Broken landmark when you have 10,000 food extra. Alright guys, what do you think? Are we going to be seeing the Freeborn, the Mansa Misafadi, or the Mansa Javeliniers? I'm trying to remember if Lash was that guy that done the Mansa Javeliniers in that very weird game before. He has done them before. It would feel absurdly odd here. Pure Palace is at least coming. I love the positioning by Cal. He's going to see a lot of the map. Very dangerous though, because even though you have a fast build speed, remember these Warrior Scouts hit pretty hard for Scouts. Looks like he will be able to get away with it, but you know, I'm starting to get flashbacks to that Kurotai game between B and Kiljadi. Not Kurotai, sorry, the step readout that got blocked entirely. This will at least be going up. Lash. It's going to be the Freeborn. All right, buckle yourselves in, boyos, because we are in for quite the party here. Yeah, oh, no. I was about to say I'm worried, and now I'm just in panic mode for Cal. Crossbows is literally the worst thing you could build right now. Freeborn Warrior still gives me Warhammer vibes. I mean, couldn't most things give you, like, Warhammer vibes, if you think about it? Like, how did Palace Guard not give you Warhammer vibes? I think Palace Guard, I'm just thinking Warhammer 40k Custodes, you know? I don't know, Warhammer has such a diverse range of different kind of civs. They're borderline at the point of, like, that sounds sexual. Do you guys get what I mean? But when someone says that sounds sexual, you go, everything sounds sexual nowadays. Right? It's like, Warhammer's kind of saying, like, this sounds like a Warhammer unit. It's like, it probably is, or it easily could be. Like, Zhuge Nu, definitely. I'm like, oh, wow, have you guys met Cafe? Actually, like, the other interesting thing is, I'm pretty sure Warhammer Fantasy has Nippon in it. It's literally called Nippon, which of course is like Japanese for Japan, right? Orcs could just finger them and they'd be Warhammer things. Exactly. Like, if enough, do you guys ever realize that if enough Orcs thought that Aussie Drongo was real, he would exist to them? That's how Orcs work. Now, as we know, Aussie Drongo is not real. He's a fabrication of our imagination. We love him. That's why we created him. It's like the best friend imaginary like person when you're young. Do you know about Orc Medix? Why are you doing that? The Orcs things. Orc Medics. I'm not sure. Is that a recent thing? They don't need medics. They're literally just spores. There's a giant mushroom drip. That's 3-1 away, so there's so much time. The second wave is coming in. I mean, this game... if Cal pulls this game off, oh, Doc Boy, I think I remember reading a bit about him, yeah. Like, so if Cal pulls this game off, though, if he wins this game, I'm just going to, like, at server and go, Cal has won an automatic victory. Like, that is how hard this is to win. Even with a 20 villager lead. The problem is there's just too much in your base already, right? They think you're fine, you're fine. I mean, that's literally the whole freaking orc way. There was the bolt guns, like the guns that literally just have a bolt inside of them. And they rattle when they shake, and they're like, oh, that's how it works. They blast kinetic energy. We're talking about different things that make us smile, because if you're a Cal fan, this game doesn't make you smile, it makes you cry. I mean, Cal, he's going to be reluctant, right? He's like, I mean, it's game 2, I'm a point down. We might as well play this out. But Cal needs a dog point to save the game. I'm pretty sure Cal just needs... You know what? I know what Cal needs. Cal needed the writing of Matt Ward from Warhammer 40k. For those that don't know, that was a guy that pretty much just created plot armor so thick on his favorite characters they could never lose. He could have made Cal into a Caldor Drago. He needs it to, actually. I mean, we've even got now Mustafadi getting added in. Kind of weird, actually, that Lash stopped producing Freeborn. I'm not sure why. Like, your opponent is still crossbowing, right? I mean, you could argue Archers does the same. I think the logic for Lash is that this is cheaper to blob. But the Freeborn may be more expensive, but they are worth it. That's the reveal. I just don't see how you stand your ground here. Mustafadi clapping the cheeks. We start to wrap around the back. Now the SB is not being targeted, admittedly. But it's going to be the only thing left standing here. Poor little Cow. Is about, what's like a tiny cow? It's not like a smaller version of cow. I think that's what cow's becoming. He's a micro cow. I mean, we have micro pigs. We must have micro cows, right? Must be a pain in the ass to milk. I was thinking about calf, but like, I mean, like you know, someone that's a smaller version, right? Like a cat's a smaller version of a lion, you know? Wait, is that how it works? If 3D's cat starts winning tournaments, does he have to rename himself Lion? If Beastie starts like losing all tournaments, does he have to call himself like Kitten? Right? Well, Carb. He'd have to call himself Carb. Ah, we figured it out. This is an utter disaster. Oh my god. Stop milking it. Actually, no, let's keep milking it. Oof. Oh, this lever's getting lathered in arrows. Oh. For a cow, I'm sure he has a lot of grays in his hair right now because this series has to be stressing him out. Hey. Now, you'd think a cow would appreciate when the bell rings. No cowbell? I guess not. There it is. Donga, donga, donga. 2-0. No repeat of the tight series of week number 8. This was a stomp. Where's the beef? Hey. You know, it's a real shame. I really was hoping that Cal would just be able to slam dunk this one and yell Kobe. All right, are we done with that? Are we done with the cow puns? Have we reached the culmination of our cow puns? God damn it. How he not aware of meta? I mean, he didn't want to play Pro Scouts, I think. I just don't think he wanted to obligate it. Right? I think he probably in game 1 felt like he out-microed his opponent, still lost, and then he just doesn't want to repeat that experience in game 2. The meta? Oh god, Jesus Christ, you guys. You're out of control. You monstrosities. So, let's have a look. There is... Do you guys want another series? We got Mia Micah versus Red Darksider. There is the Elio versus Jondo as well. Let me have a look at Mio. What did they draft? I was hoping we might have one or two with the round 16 schedule, but I don't think that's going to happen today. Well, and Mio. Oh, Jesus Christ, you guys are the worst. Or the best. Best at being the worst? Maybe. Okay. Mia Mike and Red Darkside is very confusing. They played a few hours ago. One of their games is missing. I guess we skip that one because we are legit. I'm not exaggerating. We're missing a game. So we can do Eliona versus Jondo. Wow, that's so weird. You played free? Yeah, I can't see it. I just checked both your profiles. The third one is not there, Red. It's very weird. I mean, guys, it's up to you. We can do Eliona versus Jondo, or we can watch some live games from the ladder for a little bit. What do you want? What do you guys feel like? Let's check in who we got online. Kilyadi versus Starflog. I'll put a poll up. I'll give you guys 1 minute. What to watch? Eliona versus Jondo. Pro pop matches. There you go. 1 minute poll. Get voting. Watch BC versus Numu. That could be interesting, actually. I'm kind of curious how they match up. We haven't been doing pub games that much, but the round of 32. It's not as bad. It's customs? Probably. Yeah, it's customs. So, let's have a look. Get voting, guys. Voting closes in a sec. And Killjoy versus Starflark could be interesting. Starflark is fairly high ranked now, right? So. I mean, drumsticks at this point just sounds like you're advertising BC stream. Yeah, if it's on moving out, it's very obviously a custom game. So, I reckon we can go for... Let's go for a Killjoy game. Let's do someone on the ladder. Fact. I know, I'm messing with you, man. Giving you Richard Hammond vibes today. I mean, apparently I just give people those vibes most days, so... Alright. Wait, what are we missing here? We're missing one component. 1 second. Need to switch over because I forgot to add it. Because I thought it was already there. What the hell is my... Whoa. Yes, you're a big boy. Guys, did you know that we're sponsored by AMD? Just really need you guys to know that. Is it obvious enough? Alright. Fuck, that needs to be slightly bigger. Boop. Fantastic. Whew. Let me just update the title. Alright, fantastic. I think that's all done. Let's focus on the game. Alright, I thought it'd be fun to do some pub games, actually, to mix it up in the round of 32. We've done most of the games for the opening round of Midweek Muster number 9. So I thought I'd see what Killjadi's up to on the ladder. Himeyama up against Starfluck. Love this opening as well. English, this gives them a decent edge in this matchup. French have been looking quite dominant against English recently, but the thing about Himeyama is you guarantee the water control because nobody is going to try to contest English short bows on water. How about 20 without bans? Cool in theory, in practice, you run into different issues. So, the reason why bans are so frequent in AoE 4 is because without them, you have first pick advantage. Right? And you can try to design the system so that first pick isn't advantageous, but then you just end up with second pick being advantageous. This was a conundrum that surrounded Dota 2 for several years. And I'd argue they still don't have a perfect resolution. So the counter argument to that is usually going to be, we'll just allow mirrors. That would be a reasonable solution, I'd agree. Can I get a show of hands? One's if you want to see mirror matchups in tournaments again. Two's, hell no, I don't want to see it anymore. Because I'm pretty sure people don't want mirror matchups back. I think that is one of the most progressive, logical changes to be made, is that mirror matchups suck. It's not a fun experience in AoE 4 for people to watch. It's really a fun experience to play. You could argue it's the most pure form of skill, but the reality is people don't want it back. So if you can't have mirror matchups, that's why you need bans. Because you need to be able to strip things away before you even get to the first pick. Because if you aren't able to strip it down, first or second pick will have an inherent advantage. It's just undeniable. So I hope that provides some insights as to why we don't have no-ban tournaments. Like, if you want to have no-ban tournaments, the way you actually do it is kind of like what we do with team tournaments usually, where you might pick 3, or sorry, someone might ban 1, and then you pick 2, and they snipe 1, right? Like, that's the way you can maybe do that. And I've contemplated bringing snipes to 1v1s. I'm just not sure if people really want them. I'm not sure it'd be that popular. So Abby King's coming in. Is it just old school 2TC English? I think so. Wow, I've never seen this build before. Every time I see English 2TC, I have to give that reaction. You wish for an Order of the Dragon only tournament. Why do you want us to all suffer? I mean, in fairness, it would be finally a tournament that Order of the Dragon could win. So I guess, in a way, mission complete. Yeah. So Shrinklin's coming out. We are like a minute or 2 out from live, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this up. Because we did just hop into this. This is happening live on the ladder right now. Starfluck at this point I don't think needs an introduction. We've seen he's very capable. He has 2 accounts in the top 200. Killjadi most definitely doesn't need an intro. How about a villager only tournament? As long as we can use more mini villagers. You guys remember those? Mini villagers were incredible. Nice initial first blood there, Starfluck. Get a bit of a freebie. Didn't really take that much damage on the night either. Great sneak in. Killjadi, I can't believe that. The scout was just completely away from home, so didn't see it coming at all. Starfluck now adding in that second night. TC drop is coming in. If Starfluck is quick about this, though, guys, he can stop this. This isn't as fast as you'd think. Only 8 villages. There we go. Starfluck now go for the dive. Force him away. King is going to now be able to defend. He's been waiting this whole time for that. So perfect time in the end, actually. Killjadi gets the protection he needs. Second night now arriving, though. Clubs the wrong villager. Scout is going to dive first to try and absorb the shots. They're just all going to get pulled away, but Starflock is relentless in his pursuit of these kills. The workers are starting to go down a bit, but I think Starflock mismicroed that. That should have been up to 4 worker kills now. Instead, he's sitting on 2. It is, however, still a lead. Only needs, especially considering that KillerPigeon has got that fishing to pad him. I still can't believe he done fishing to TC. Like, one of those things, right? But both of those things together is a little bit ludicrous. In response, we do now have the Pro Scouts coming through, so Starflock's going to try to strip resource away from the map. I've talked about this before, that I don't like 2TC into Pro Scouts. I'm not going to give KillerPigeon a pass, but I'd say if there was a Civ that can maybe convince me, it's maybe English. I think ambassadors just get too greedy about it. If you're going to eco and you have to do free TC, and that's too much against Pro Scouts. But English, the farms are so cheap, you can kind of hunker down. I don't think this is a great map for it. Himiyama doesn't really provide you that much wood. That was a cheeky snatch, though. Great little kill here. KillerPigeon obviously benefits from just taking these trades, because afterwards you can just walk back home and get healed. Even hung around to get the vision to see the archery range being dropped there. KillerPigeon just farming up the information. Now farming up literally at home as well. We've got farms getting added in. Like I said, you know, any other Civ, this is painful to do on 2TC. English just kind of do it with a smile on their face. What an easy life. Now, I'm kind of wondering, by the way. I was at first contemplating on Fridays, because midweek muster round of 32 can be like potentially a lot of stomps, so we have a limited amount of series potentially that people are interested in. Would it be interesting to do like some sort of community games again? We used to do them, but then we stopped because it just didn't seem like there was interest from the community. I don't know if there's more interest now. I almost want to imagine, while having the professional midweek musters going on Friday, also just having like some sort of friendly community game tournament series going on. I think we might need more people for that, though. It's always the concern, is needing enough people. Oh my god, dude, this king is just carrying this game right now. He needs to die. Starflock needs this frustration removed. Does delay the charge so you can get close enough. That's a good connector, but the Knight's get in the way. 5 HP, come on. Oh, that's just not fair. So all that effort is for nothing now. You know this can be able to block the forward tree line, but remember, KillerPigeon has safe tree lines behind this. The boy has lived and has not come to die, I can confirm. And we even have longbows now to be added in by KillerPigeon. I mean, I like this, right? He's going to force Starflock to have to dive him. Gold gathering in the backside is still safe. Side as well, right? Like, it's not an easy blocker. TC's just too close to that. Starflock hasn't gone 2DC himself, so kind of on an all-in convergence point here that I'm not crazy about. One's if you think KillerPigeon is going to win this, two's if you think Starflock is. So we can very clearly see what the plans are. Like, the current collision course is Eco Boom versus All-In. Now, I'm not going to say it's impossible for French to do, but one, you have to out-micro your opponent hit. Two, it's against English. It's not impossible to find that timing, right? Because we're not talking about White Tower being up yet. But Starflock, if he does it, this will be a true testament to his ability to outplay his opponent in the engagements. Archer's now building up the ram. 2 rams at that. Greedy, but necessary. He needs to be fast about this because every second you waste is the eco lead building further for KillerPigeon. Good news, at least for Starflock, is the fishing is getting a little bit low. We have, what, 800 food left here. What was originally very healthy 2,000. Starflock's probably going to want to add a 3rd ram to feel safe. It's problematic now because it just feels like he needs to blob so many more archers because the spearmen count. Spearmen that are just going to do phenomenally well with that attack speed buffer as well. It's kind of ludicrous how effective the attack speed buffer feels on spears. Right, because the thing you have to keep in mind is like units that have a higher base attack time benefit more from percentile increases, right? So although it's still a big attack difference at the end, like it takes a long time to attack, the value of a spear just feels like it amplifies a lot more than, say, the value of a men-at-arms being buffed by that. At least for a DPS output. It's very effective against the French shit. That's a step up. Gets decent damage on the ram to begin with. Archer range is now being targeted. Villagers may be in a bit of a pickle too. Starflock looks to jump in, but he can't hang around. You see that attack speed. That was a bit instantly just pin, kill the Knights. To back away here. King in the meantime has been taken down. The Villagers now pulled. Still the ram. A slight overcommitment here. Starflock getting value now, but needs to make sure he moves away from the spears. A-Click's actually working against him here, but Kiljadi losing the entire worker lead for that. Oh my god. I mean, the problem though is Starflock, he lost all semblance of an aggressive army, right? Like, yes, the Knight count looks good, but what I mean by real aggression is getting into the base. Without archers, that's simply not going to happen here. The spearmen are just always going to be able to stop you. So, you know, Starflock doing a good job of resetting the village elite that was built by Kiljadi. Knight count is at least still looking good. Do we have Chivalry? No, we do not. And I think that is the key mistake now, is Starflock not having Chivalry. That's really what you want to be leaning for. Like, when I said it's micro-intensive, that's the way it gets micro-intensive. You need to peel the injured away, one after another, heal them up to keep that Knight count to a point where you threaten. Because if you don't, then Kiljadi is just going to cheapskate age 2 and go age 3. In fact, he can do that now. Third farm cluster getting added in. Tree line on the north side now being grabbed. If he wants to go for that castle play, it's going to have to be quite soon, considering how low the fish is getting now. Because you'll need that extra booster, right? Either that or you have to wait until your 3.5 to 4 farm clusters full. That's quite bloody expensive. Not necessarily on resources, right? The farms are cheap, but on time in this game, most definitely. Starflock has got, what, one of the deer clusters from his opponent. He's got the other one pretty much wrapped up. So we're approaching almost all deer snatched from the map. Knight count is still looking good. I actually think Starflock would benefit from peaking Castle Age, but the scary part is if you do that, you know the English get that white tower down, so diving becomes hard. Instead, he goes in again. Guys, I actually think Starflock has Kiljadi in a really bad position here. That blocker on the deer was an overextension, and Kiljadi knows it. Gets back in time to minimize the losses, but I think that was like, what, an extra 5 worker kills? He's prepping rams again. One may be a little bit too light and loose. Triple ram makes a lot of sense here. Kiljadi. He's going to pull the trigger, guys. I think he knows that because of the stage in the game, there's so many Knights that defending becomes very hard, unless you want to wall. And walling on Himiyama wasn't the easiest thing to do before Season 9. Now with the wall build speeds, it's just not possible. Not against a high-level opponent. Not without some sort of big edge. Kiljadi instead is going to get his edge elsewhere. White tower, now going up the tree line. Bit of a greedy positioning. It means that the TC isn't safe. Nice, gonna start shuffling in here. Bring off the archer range is a peculiar choice. Actually need the town center removed. This dive, moving even deeper. The white tower timing, I think Kiljadi might want to consider pulling more villages for this. The Starflock is about to reveal it. And now you have to stand your ground. Knights pull back, archers need to deal with those spears. And Knights need to march in, they need to go straight after the back line. It's not enough to just kill the workers, you need to kill the army, and I think Starflock doesn't necessarily have the firepower here. Gets on top of the white tower workers. Doesn't finish them off though. 3 left alive. And that's going to be enough. Kiljadi will make it into the castle age. He's down 9 villagers. Starflock looks like he's down an army. Yeah, only 7 Knights left over. Collective health pool of probably about 5. veterancy for Killjardy on the longbows could be well and truly worth it here. Gold gathering back underway in this game. Starflark probably now wishing that he'd just taken the age up into Royal Bloodlines here. Would have had a lot more knights to party with. Instead now, it looks pretty small. This worries me a little bit because it looks like Starflark is going to... No, okay, there we go. I was about to say, there's no way. It's just he was idle moving across the golds, right? He hadn't prepped that ahead of time, so we are going to see him playing into H3. Likely going to be looking at Royal Institute here. Is there a world in which he does Guildhall? I don't think so. I think Guildhall is less value on Himiyama. Because Himiyama doesn't have 8k golds, right? Typically, the Red Palace play looks a lot better when you have an 8k gold to play off of. So, I'm expecting him to wholly lean into Royal Institute play. He does have a problem, though, and that's going to be in food. If I'm not mistaken, that's the last of the deer. There's still, what, 4 left available on the map, but that's not a lot. You have to go berries or farms. Instead, it looks like he might be going to TC. Guildhall it is. I wonder if this is less about going Red Palace and more about the fact that he's going to run out of food. So he kind of needs that extra life, right? Oof. Is it me or is my voice sounding worse than it was earlier? I might die. Maybe. Starflark has a very difficult defense ahead of him. Killjardy would very much benefit from Steel Arrow 2 here. The pen's just going to be insane. Like, you know, over half damage onto these knights. Tech up does come out. Veterancy immediately gets queued up for both, but Killjardy already posturing, and Starflark's reaction is going to be arbitrary. There's not really any good reason. There's only 8 men at arms, and those are early. I thought maybe just try to go archers. You could argue that like it's not bad to have the Bavis against the Lombos. They can still kite you. Overkilling on the archers. I think Killjardy could actually micro this a bit better. Kill 2 at once, right? Wipes the archers in half the time. Guarantees the spears don't have to be threatened here. I think they care anyway. There's just so many of them. Pushing past, and Killjardy. This rate is going to reach the stone gathering on the backside. Looks like Starflark was actually moving towards a key drop instead. Or just got distracted. Either way, a big miss macro potentially. Killjardy has at least got a contest now with those knights being upgraded, but he still has a handful of spearmen left over. There's no answer to those spears now. Only 3 archers in total. The Lombos have found the villagers as well. Killjardy patiently camping his base this whole time. Is finally getting an opportunity to return the pain. Goddamn English campers. Every time you think you've got them, they somehow snake that white tower, and then somehow you're the one losing villages. Classic English experience these days, really. At this point, Starflark is just kind of flailing, right? The army is so big you can't like directly address it, right? So it gets to run around and eye them up. And Starflark will know that behind all this, his opponent is 2TC. Probably going for relics as well. In fact, we can see Killjardy is. I just don't really see a way. It was a good effort from Starflark. I think he was very close to breaking Killjardy. Just there's initial rams. It feels so easy to get that play wrong. And he didn't really get any value out of it. Lost too many knights, didn't really kill enough in return. Leads us to this. So I think after that initial dive, didn't kill the TC, Starflark probably was feeling that, you know, not great, but not terrible that he'd taken so many workers with him. The real reality of the problem there, though, is that your opponent, as the minutes drag on, just gets closer to the ability to rush a white tower. It's not a greedy effort anymore. It's a 1-minute effort instead of a 5. Good news for Starflark is that Killjardy's wasting a lot of time getting rid of the monasteries, at least. That's because Killjardy wants to hoover all relics and just play him. Use the formation, kick up dust when they move. Yeah, that's nice. It's going to count a little bit low. But there's still no undermesh level 2. And there's not enough knights. These guys are going to get wiped. I think Starflock is probably moments away from waving white flag. I mean, he killed a decent number of Lombos, right? But it's just the rematch is absurd. Killjoy just has so much food, and Starflock has none. Will definitely not be getting a win here. GG. Killjoy, so cozy as always on his English, reminding us why 2DC may be falling out of the meta in favor of Pro Scouts. There's one Civ that will stick loyal to that build until the ends of time. Hello, Stopper. Yep, we already had MSM versus Dragavan. That was cast early today. Good lord, my throat. It's getting pretty rough. Do we have any other series? I'm starting to think we're not going to get any of the round of 16 today. Lash Cow? Yeah, we had Lash Cow. We've done that already. So, the VOD will include MSN versus Dragavan, Lash versus Cow, Numidan versus M7, Starflock versus Striker, Myriad versus Anavaku. And the other ones, no. So, Mio versus Red Darksider's replay was bugged. There is Elio versus Yondu. I'm just wondering if maybe I should call it and let my throat rest instead. Instead of pushing my luck. Which always feels bad as a streamer, because you're like, I should be alive longer. But at the same time, I should probably be responsible. The ideal world would have been, I'm going to go eat for half an hour, here's a video, and then when we come back, here's the series. But I don't think we're getting any more scheduled today, guys. So I think what I'll do, I'll get ready to one down. So I will be on EGC tomorrow. I'll be casting with Cow for qualifier number 1. Should be fun. So looking forward to that. You'll be able to catch me on EGC. I think it's the standard starting time. But in terms of on here, remember guys, we'll be back on Monday. We're back every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So make sure you're tuning in. Bring a friend. I always say like the best way to help it grow is obviously tuning in goes a long way. If you want to do something extra, I don't expect people to like open their wallets and give me millions of dollars. The actual way that like you can help for free is let other people know these are going on. Upvote the threads when you see them on Reddit. Share them around different Discord communities and whatnot. Let's get more people into the AOE4 esports scene watching and enjoying the midweek musters. But YouTube, I'm going to end now. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Appreciate the support, despite the fact my voice has sounded atrocious, I'm imagining. But I will see you guys on Monday.